Yep, I had a dream that one day the black man and the white man and the Chinese man and the Asian man and the Mexican man will get together and love one another and have play kumbaya and all that bullshit. I am
Test, test, test. Does this one show up?
definitely.
Yeah, it's connected.
Hey, Monty, can we meet next week? Thursdays are good days. Thursdays are Tuesdays. Tuesdays are Thursdays.
Test, 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 test. This is a no.
Dope. 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 All right. Yeah, I just want to go over the how everything goes and just the mindset. Yep.
Test, test, test.
Yes, sir. There's a couple more full play songs and I anticipate, but I still think the flow is dope. Yep, and we are the world. We are the children. No, we are the ones who make a brighter day. Let's start giving. There are people. Yeah.
Test 1 2 3. Test 1 2 3.
Hey, it's good. You feel me? It's really, really, really good.
1 2 3. 1 2 3.
Yep.
1 2 3.
The real look fake to the fake. The grass look high to a motherfucking snake.
What?
I'm on time even if I'm late. How about it? Hey. Yep. Uh-huh. And Monty was in somebody's secret garden. I don't know whose secret garden he was in. Make sure you don't get fleas, burnt, nothing, none of that. You, I forget to tell you I loved you. You were swimming around in somebody's secret garden. Secret gardens. You gotta watch out for them secret gardens.
The camera's in. What's that? The camera in his hand.
It's a GN takeover.
God. What?
It's like when Dipset just built the office inside of Rockefeller. They just built their own office.
Test 1 2 3. Oh. Oh.
Are you
What's up
outside?
with you?
Okay, they're coming. Thank you.
Don't make me smile. Don't make me smile in front of these people. I'm still gangster, goddammit. Money, I don't need that. That's not his fucking joke.
2 minutes.
Hey, stop telling me to watch out, bro.
I don't want to step on it.
Hey, Jews are becoming gangster.
I see.
Hey, they're outside.
What are you doing, gangster?
We killed Jesus, remember?
Thank you.
We got away with it.
We're running shit around here.
I forgot. That was the first OJ. Just killing Jesus and getting away with it?
See how I
That was the
walked
first
through
one.
the car? See how I walked through the car? Lucky
Hey, this is great comedy. This is Diallo comedy.
Yeah, I missed that guy.
Diallo loves this kind of comedy. Sick.
This is dark comedy over here.
I can get worse.
Yeah, we know.
We well aware how worse you can get.
I'm the scum of the earth, you know. And I embrace it. My mom called them miskites, which is I think like Yiddish for like scum.
What is it
What's
called?
up, gang?
Miskite.
What's it called? What's it mean?
It's like Yiddish for scum.
Oh,
like
wow.
Scumbag.
This guy?
Yiddish is like a combination of a bunch of old European languages and Hebrew.
It's slang Jew.
Yeah, it's basically pidgin.
Jim Slam.
So that's where like chutzpah and all that stuff comes from. But it's like it's called miskite, like MESKIT.
We heard you.
So you know, I'm driving around, you know,
Do you
with my
know
mom
what
in the
my
back
ATM
seat, and she's
is
cursing
at?
people out in words I've never heard of.
Oh, wow. This guy. No, there's a lot of Yiddish language that's still around.
Yeah.
It's integrated to the English.
ATM software is where. No,
H
when I
O
open it,
P
where is
E.
it?
Oh,
45
dang, Lord.
seconds.
25 seconds? Is it video playing yet or 25 seconds?
40 seconds until the video. Phones off, quiet on the set.
Quiet on this.
There's only a few of us in here. Lots of energy from you 3, 4. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up.
Never seen that
Put
Is
your
it
sound.
behind your feet?
All right. J to the A to the
Thank
U.
you. Thank you.
Y'all excited. Y'all
Oh my God. What is you doing, boy?
Oh, there it is. Drag it.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm doing some technical stuff
1
to show
second.
that I own it.
Video is live.
All right. Welcome back. We gotta come up with a better system for letting us know it's time to go. I'm looking at you like it's time to go. Hey.
What's happening? What's
How's
happening?
everybody doing? Welcome back. Hopefully we had a good 2 weeks off. You had some good time off?
I did.
Good, man.
I
Good.
did. You?
Yeah, man. Yeah. It was Diallo's birthday, and family came through, and Mama Linda partied with us. Partied. I'm telling you, that 70-year-old woman will teach you young folks how to party. You need to hang out with her so y'all can like step your game up. Because when I was around her, I felt so old. I feel like I need to just get young like her because she's amazing to hang out with. So, but
That's what's up.
family members came by. It was really nice. Had a couple of great conversations this week. And I'm gonna jump into them in a little bit, but some great conversations with folks, and also I kind of evolved one of my views that I'm going to share in the class. But I evolved it because I'm more concerned about solutions than being right. Like being right, it is what it is, right? But impacting and helping people, that's where my heart's at. And so I don't care about being right, to be honest with you. Actually, I'm used to being wrong. I enjoy being wrong. So, and I know some people say, what do you mean enjoy being wrong? It's like because when you're wrong, you discover something new, and that discovering that you're wrong is that aha moment that just like makes life. It adds color to life. You know what I mean? So I enjoy being wrong. So we're going to jump into some fun stuff, but I think I'm going to go over a couple of announcements before we get into the game. One, the retreat is coming up. Yes, I said it. That's right. Cassandra, let's start dancing with text. The retreat is coming up. There's going to be an email that's going to go out, but those of you who are going to attend the retreat have to deposit by the end of the month $500 because we have to lock in some serious cost, and we want to make sure that we secure that cost with commitments. So it's a non-refundable $500. And once again, as you guys know, there'll be more details sent out, but it's going to be a 4-day retreat where we're going to work on helping some of you guys move past your depression and trauma. You know, it's funny, we're helping people in this class hit different levels of consciousness. Really, that's really another core function of this class is helping people reach different levels of consciousness. And
we're really focused on level I get into this a little bit later, but level of consciousness of level conscious 2. It's like 4 different levels. Level 2 and 3 is what this class poses you to. Level 1 is the most common level of consciousness that most people exist in. And but what we've discovered is that when you're dealing with this, I call rabbit hole of depression and trauma, it's extremely hard to engage the process. And so there's a point when you have to release yourself or give yourself permission to grow or even develop exercise. Because I think some of us think growth is just like a downhill slide. They may have a little bit of friction, may have a couple of stopping points, but a downhill slide. And really, it's a slow stage of constant exercising. Like this class is not a I got it, it's an exercise. And if you don't understand it's an exercise, you will gain this tool, and as soon as you stop using it, you're gonna lose it. And you're gonna find when something hits you in the mouth or a crisis happens or you hit a point of fear, you will resort back to the means. So if you're not constantly practicing, you may think you're the same person, but I can promise you, like, if you ever worked out at a gym and you really pushed yourself, whether it was jogging, weightlifting, or precision, when you stop training over a period of time, you don't feel the loss of the distance you was capable of running, the amount of weight you used to be able to lift, or the precision. You only discover it when you're put back in the game and asked to do it again. And you realize, oh shit, I can't move like that no more. Oh shit, I can't run as far as I used to. Oh shit, I can't get this weight off my chest, right? And so in this class, it's very important to understand that it is an exercise. And so on the retreat, we're gonna help individuals tap into this personal space that's preventing them from evolving the way they want to evolve. And so that's the purpose of the retreat. Also, the retreat strengthens relationships. So the relationships become stronger between the team members. Other thing is, okay, make sure I can hear myself in the house. I'm kind of going low in the house. We're going to post one of our previous Shamara, was a student in the class for the last 2 years. She has this business, man, and I'm telling everybody who's 30 and older, get close to the camera, or get close to your television, or your computer, or your screen, or your phone. If you are 30 and older, this is a must in your life. Shamara is a professional masseuse slash. She's a stretcher. She stretches people professionally. She's what do they call them? Stretch therapist. Okay, yeah. Somebody gave me the correct term. So anyway, so she's a stretch therapist, and 2 is that she used to play. She used to stretch for the Oakland Raiders, and I think it was my birthday or something. Shabisha had surprised me with that gift, and anybody knows me, I'm not a very foo-foo type dude. So if you come at me with a whole bunch of like people touching me and burning incense, I'm out. I'm gonna walk out as soon as the incense starts. As soon as I smell something, candle burn, or you start putting on that little trickling water, I'm gonna leave you. As soon as you go to wipe your hands, I'm already out there. I'm walking out the room because I'm not into that kind of. It's just too soft for me, man. I'm not a soft dude. Anyway, so I came through rough. I came through this world rough. I'm gonna go out rough. That's just how it's gonna be, bro. I'm just not that type of dude. So anyway.
Let's bring his daughter around.
No, but that's different. I mean, but like somebody going, oh, let me rub your arm, because like that shit don't make me feel better. That shit makes me. It's like it gives you a feeling like you're doing something better, but the next day my back still fucking hurts. So you didn't do shit, right? Same thing with chiropractors. I cannot. This is my personal position. I got in a motorcycle accident. I've been in 2, but the one before last, got in a motorcycle accident, and I ran to the side of a car. Is the sound good enough? Is the sound cool on the screen? Do you look at the sound? Are we hitting that point on the sound? Just look at the sound. Keep your eye on the sound. Does it look good? Because I don't hear myself on the in-house speakers, and I don't. You turn those all the way down or something? Yeah, or you turn it up or something. Okay, you said it's an echo online. That won't cause the echo. So is there an echo? You said there's an echo online?
You can hear the sound. I'm gonna hear the sound.
Can people online hear the echo? Okay, so just let me take a pause because I think when you reset everything, there's something else pulling sound in. So let me adjust the echo. Let me adjust that sound because that doesn't create an echo. That's not possible. Give me 1 second. I want you to go and finish talking to folks real quick, and I'll be right back. Just check the sound.
What's up, everybody? Sounds like my mic is low too, but I guess it's good. I like the sound of occasional water trickling. Just, every once in a while. As a woo-woo guy, you gotta decompress sometimes. I'm okay with that title, huh? That's what keeps the yin and yang going. There's a such thing as divine feminine energy, right? Shabisha? Yeah. Um, so where were we going? Um, way better good now?
All right. All right. So anyway, now can you turn me up in the house, please? Thank you very much, sir. Because I sound like I was talking to a dead room, and it felt so awkward. Yeah, because usually if it comes in that way. All right. So anyway, what were we on? Announcements. So massage. So Shamar. So Shabisha had brought me a gift. And she's like, yo, I have a friend who's a masseuse and a stretch therapist, but all I really heard was masseuse. And she's like, I brought you a session. And in my mind, I said, thank you, but I knew I was never going to go. Then she says, well, she stretches people for the Raiders. I said, okay, now that might be something, right? Because, I've been working out my whole life, and you get all these sore points, but you learn to live with them, but that doesn't mean you have to. I went ahead and went to her services. Most amazing experience ever. Turn this down, listen a little bit in the house, a little bit too loud. Most amazing experience ever. This is why. One, she does this 1 hour and a half stretch session. You never realize how tight you were until you go through a stretch session where somebody else will stretch you. I don't care about if you stretch yourself, when somebody else stretches you. Number two, you're finding your weak points because those weak points will stand out like a sore thumb. So it helps you develop higher level of body awareness. Number three, it adds 10 years to your life. Look, if you work out all the time and you want to get more out of your workout, if you want to enjoy your workout a little bit more, if you want to enjoy your life a little bit more, if you want to have more access, her services is, I don't know, $130, $150 an hour, something where in that space. It's gonna be. I get her services once a month. She's an alumni student. I'm telling you, folks, that from Hope, go online. If Danielle hasn't put it online yet, Danielle put her information, have it put in the slides, or put it somewhere, put it in a group, whatever. But if I want to talk about something you can spend your money on and get direct impact, and you can see direct benefit, and then go way beyond that chiropractor field, which is a day and a half. But you want to feel something that's going to change your life, and it's going to change the way you stretch, your body awareness, the impact, and allow you to work out longer and better. It's amazing experience. And mind you, like for example, if you are knotted up, because she has the expertise of a masseuse, she'll work on that particular area, and then she'll stretch you out. And I mean, she got to the point where I could bring my foot up here and touch my foot to my hand, bruh. Don't even ask me how that happened, bro. Don't even I'm never gonna show you that. And when she stretches me, I'd be like, yo, close those curtains, because I can't afford for court to be like, yo, I just dropped in and you see my foot by my head. Nah, we ain't going out like that, right? But honestly, y'all, and she's running a promotion now. So the Hope class students receive a cheaper price. But go online, support the alumni Hope student for something that one of the things I like to do is when I refer black people to black people, I don't ever want you to support a black business and have to bite your bottom lip and lower your standards to give them money. I want you to invest in their services, and the response you get and what you get in return becomes the most rewarding experience ever. So go online. I promise you, if you support the alumni student Shamara, it won't feel like you're giving to her. It's going to feel like she's giving to you. And when I say her professionalism is top notch, her stretching skill, first of all, she's a strong woman. She's one of the kind of women that, like in the 50s, would knock you the fuck out. And she'll grab my leg sometimes to do a stretch. Man, she grabbed my leg and threw it around her, slid her butt up, and picked my butt. I felt like a piece of fish. She was just moving. And you know I'm a big dude. You ain't gonna be moving me like that, damn me. I'm dense and I'm solid. And she moved me like I was just the latest fish at the fish market. And so I'm telling you guys, if you're over 30 and you want to have a better relationship with your exercise, go into the portal and support Shamar. Sign up for the services, and I promise you, when you come back to me, you're going to be praising us for this referral. So I want to make that announcement. Next thing is make sure sign into the portal, y'all. Sign into the portal. A lot of our homework's in the portal. Conversations are going to start happening in the portal. Sign into the portal. If you can see the video, you still got to sign into the forum space. So go to the forum space, sign in, so then I can start communicating to you guys with cool little articles and stuff through the week, so you can kind of keep you guys fresh in the game. So make sure you're there. Last, I want to highlight, we received a few more donations from students. Brendan came through and gave us a nice size donation. I just want to say, I appreciate everybody for their donations, but can we just call it the elephant in the room? When black men donate to black men, we have to just tip our hat to that, because slavery did a job on us, and we don't see each other the way we should see each other, right? And it's not a fault. I don't want to sit around and wag any fingers at anybody, but it is, sisters have always been the number one supporters of brothers, and like that, like if you are a Dodge Challenger, the black woman is our Hemi. She makes sure we're gonna get to where we gotta go. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times black men won't support us, each other. It just doesn't happen. And when you see brothers showing up on the support, it's humbling. It's the ultimate compliment of staying there and keep doing the work. So I want to say to everybody who donated, and even the players like Fern who donated.
The players.
We talked to Fern. The players like Fern, you understand me? I just want to say thanks to everybody who showed up for us, and I just want to say we love you guys. One more thing too. We're doing a podcast this Saturday, a total panel of 5. Me, Court, Mashama, and 2 special guests. And if you guys want to support or help out, let us know if you guys want to help us out. We're trying to start something here where we're going to create this podcast where we're going to have conversations about the world, but from an entrepreneur perspective. And the goal of this piece is to kind of just raise and elevate the conversations in our community to see these issues differently. One of the things that, now this lands me in that perfect space. One of the things that I changed this weekend on, this is a slight nudge in changing my personal ideology. And I'm always changing, but this is one that I think I may have shown a lot of energy, so I don't want to confuse you guys as we move forward. But I've always shown a lot of dislike for Umar Johnson. No mistake. And it's probably because his ego is just unimaginably, like, I'm not saying I love Umar Johnson at all, nor would I ever fuck with him. But I may have showed a little bit too much irritation with him. But let me go a little bit, because I know some of y'all at home feeling, the right and wrong people are feeling right now. And I'm about to take that away from you, because that's not where I'm going. I realize because we're underdeveloped as a community, we're not putting things in the proper category. We're asking police officers to be businessmen in our community. Revolutionists are good at defense. They're usually not that good in offense. So revolutionists can say, that's wrong, that's systemic racism, that's not fair. Not saying I agree with that method, because some of it's flawed by its nature and it's limiting. But the problem is that we often expect revolution, because we are so wowed by their intelligence, we often expect revolutionists to be builders. And we have to know there's a difference. So somebody like Umar Johnson may be highly articulate at highlighting a problem in the community. Whether I agree or disagree, that's a different conversation. But when he tries to build a school and he absolutely fails and falls on his face, that should not be seen as a flaw. That is almost the nature of the beast that he signed up for. When you sign up to see the problems in society, it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. And when it comes time to build something, often you're not qualified. And I think when we go to those individuals and say, hey, sister this or brother this, how do we build a better community? And they can't answer it. I think that's the nature of the discipline. Like, if you're an excellent reader, don't mean you're gonna be an excellent writer, right? Some people in sports you've seen are excellent in offense, suck at defense, and vice versa. And I think what we don't realize is that there's principles of building and there's principles of destruction. So, like, for example, army may go in and destroy the enemy. Don't mean it can rebuild the nation. It's two different types of approaches. And so I'm not lightening up on the flaws that I've highlighted. I'm backing up on my disgust. Because I think I displayed kind of subliminal disgust for that mindset. And in a sense, but I think the reason I became disgusted is because we made it to everything to our community, right? So we are talking about Malcolm X as he's the everything, right? And the reason I saw Malcolm X as, even though he was learning from Elijah Muhammad, I saw him as the yin to Elijah Muhammad's yang. Because Elijah was about building, right? In theory. I don't know him personally, so we're talking about through observation, and my position may be highly flawed, but his argument was about building. And one side was more or less about what was wrong and what needs to be destroyed and what we can't do and what we should stop doing. But how do you get to what to do is a whole different group of principles I don't think that we have ever really put on the world stage and really sat down and examined on, what does freedom look like? What are the responsibilities of freedom? What does leadership have to look like? What kind of mindset do you have to embrace to become a leader of black folks? Like, you can't be a leader of black folks if you're coming straight off the grounds of rejecting white folks. You have to go to a space of forgiveness and then restart. Otherwise, you're doomed to become white folks, just with black skin. You will oppress your people just as much, kill people just as fast, and you may have more of a class judgment or territorial judgment or some type of group separation. And so at the end of the day, the same person that you did not like, you became. And so if you don't know how to transition from the revolutionist to the builder, and I think that's where this class fits that space of, hey, you can't, if you're trying to build stuff, that whole mindset has to be left behind. You have to take that off and put on a whole new set of outfits. The goal is the same, which is saving your people, but your role now is to build for your people as opposed to highlight to your people what's wrong in society.
Yo, let me tell you why that's important and dope. And that's for someone who sits up here to be able to do that. It shows the desire and love and care for everyone in the class, right? You love your people. He loves his people, right? So anyone who loves his people enough, and if the ego is down, then they're going to be willing to admit or say, hey, I just shifted my mindset on this, and this is what it is. So I want to say that that's dope. Like, as it's a responsibility that we have here, and sometimes people who get up in front of people, the ego is in the way so hard that they don't want to do it. Fuck that shit. But I think that that is a lesson within itself, because we preach so hard to you guys about ego as an enemy and upgrading your thinking and being confident, but also be willing to divorce your thought processes and beliefs and things that you have that you hold emotionally ties to. And then we got to witness it in action right here. So I think that's super dope.
Thank you, brother, man. Thanks, bro. Thanks. All right, that being said, let's jump into some good stuff tonight. So I'm going to have to do some John Morant and go one direction, then switch to another direction real fast. So just bear with me, because I'm not young like that dude, so I might look like that old dude trying to make that fancy move happen. So just hang with me tonight. Hold on a second. Siri, you don't get out of here. How do you exit Siri when it does something? Siri just took over my computer real quick. 1 second, y'all. We having this weird technical difficulty. Siri just decided it's going to take over my computer. Is that crazy? Okay, hold on a second. Let me put it back on Keynote. All right, let's try again. All right, let's go. So the first thing I want to talk about, and this is so important. So let me say this real quick. A lot of stuff I teach in class, I practice. I don't teach what I believe in or what I like, I practice. And the reason I practice it, because I love the benefits of it. But what's so cool is that when I'm forced to do something that I wasn't growing up, when I'm forced to take on a new principle that I didn't grow up with, you have to create space to show up to that principle. If you catch me in a fast reaction, I will most time, say 5 times out of 10, I may betray these ideas. And so you have to learn to slow down when it comes to making decisions. Because a lot of these ideas I introduce you guys to, they do require energy. They require thought, and they do require for you to make the connection as fast as possible. So this thing called naive realism. Naive realism is this idea that, well, I want to talk about one branch of naive realism, because there's a few branches of naive realism, but let's talk about this particular branch. It's the idea that everybody has the same idea that you have. So if you believe in something, you believe everybody else has the same idea. You're like, everybody believes that idea. Everybody knows that's what you do. This is what I've always understood. You might say, okay, what does that mean? Why are we examining that? Well, let's take it another layer deeper, and this is to talk about how it shows up in business. Naive realism is so cold that we can have the same goal, be from the same tribe, and have the same motivator, but don't realize we think totally different. In a naive realism, it's so easy to assume that my why is your why is my why, and if you don't follow that why, something must be wrong with you. You must be crazy. You must be stupid. You must be dumb. Right? Also, naive realism is something we can start to, after a while, bank on. I made this move because that's what everybody does. Let me show you an area where naive realism causes you to stop building and go into a space of assuming. Black vote. When you assume the black vote, black people need to vote. That's called naive realism. You assume that everybody who's black are going to vote for the similar needs and ideas. If you pulled out if you were able to analyze it and pull the document, you'll realize actually there's a huge variation. But you won't even take time to narrow that variation, because you automatically assume when you see television shows, black people, we just gotta vote. It's so important that we vote. See, voting is so important for black folks, not realizing that you are assuming a realism that doesn't exist. Let's say you're in a business and you bring an idea, and a bad idea starts to hijack the group that is not even based upon facts or our educational training. It is so easy for a business group to go in a bad direction because we start to assume, well, I did it because I thought you believed in it. You did it because you thought that this person believed in it. And on top of that, too, I won't take the chance of breaking from the circle, because if I break away from the circle, there's a chance I could be shamed for my different views. So in the end, we will unconsciously follow ideas and principles even though we do not agree in the name of naive realism. When you say black people usually do this, naive realism. When you talk about a large group of human beings, there's no way in the world, or even a small group of human beings, never assume you all share the same idea. Even if there's an idea that's echoed loudly in your company, because this is how great companies fall. A lot of great companies can get started and they build all these pockets of naive realism, and then the employees become the greatest enemy of the business growth. Because they're all operating on these ideas that no one is actually taking time to research. No one owns the solution. It's just this idea of, well, I've heard it from everybody. Everybody says this. You ever been in a room and people start to argue? Let's say you're arguing a point. Let's say you're arguing 2 plus 2 equals 4. And somebody's like, nah, it's 6. You're like, no, it's 4. So then the people in the room that's with that person, who likes that person, who dresses like that person, who identifies with that group, starts to say, nah, it's 6. We all know it's 6. It's always been 6. But if you were to actually sit down and audit each person, where did you get that information from? You realize they developed it through hearsay and the group mentality. They never took time to see if it was actually real or not. A lot of our strategies, when we talk about our community, well, our community should, naive realism. There's no such thing. Black people always, no such thing. White people always have, no such thing. The Asian community, no such thing. That's naive realism. It's okay for us to joust with bad habits. I'm not trying to purify you. But when it comes time to make decisions and put your money on the table, you need to understand the difference between jousting, like just talking shit and saying, yeah, this, Asian community, they always, okay, that's humor, whatever, fuck it. But when it comes time to make some decisions, you have to see the differences and the variations and the who sits where and who really owns that idea and who's really committed to that, who's investing in those solutions. Because when you're building a business, you don't make money from monopoly money. You don't make money from hearsay. You don't make money from, hey, you ever see somebody say they don't throw a party and they pass out hella flyers and almost everybody said they're gonna be there, and the night of the party, only 3 people show up, right? And the reason that person spent all that money that night before, because their mind said, well, I'm having a party, they should show up. They all said it. I don't understand what happened. Or the famous Facebook, I think that was when I first met Shakina, she was convinced, she went out and spent thousands of dollars on a t-shirt that she designed. Because all these people online said they was gonna buy it from her. And when it came time to sell the t-shirt, I think she sold like anywhere between 1 and 5. And mind you, thousands of dollars of t-shirts went to East Bay, whatever the garbage company is. Because at the end of the day, that's called naive realism, right? People could talk to you all the time about certain ideas, and your goal is to get past that point of naive realism. Stop assuming you understand large groups of people. It requires deep, deep observation and realize that even within every group, there's layers and layers and layers of differences in beliefs. Got that one? All right. Next one. This is an issue that came up while I was on my 1 week sabbatical. Confidence doesn't equal competence. Let me say this again. Confidence doesn't equal competence. This one here gets to me. Let me tell you why. Somebody can get in front of black folks with a suit on, with great posture, master cleans English, they can even put a little bit of black swag on it, and we automatically assume they have the competence. Somebody can come in front of us right now and use big words like Cornel West, and we automatically assume, or Michael Eric Dyson. Okay, I gotta work on that one. Michael Eric Dyson, and we automatically assume that he has competence. Somebody can give you a title and walk in the room, swag, nice car, get out the car, have a beautiful mate, walk up to you, chest all out, shoulders roll back, and we automatically assume this person has competence. Confidence does not represent competence. And it's so important because this is a major, look, let's be honest. How many times have you manipulated people with that same tool? You knew damn well you didn't know where the hell you was going, but you just showed up with you played the mask of confidence, and ultimately you didn't have competence. Now, if you're making a decision with your resources, you have to know this. Otherwise, this is a new pimp game for whoever you are. Because all somebody has to do is show up to you with confidence, and you will automatically start pouring money into them. And when they fail you, it's not their fault because you got tricked by their confidence, when ultimately they didn't have the competence. Now, you say, well, no, listen here, player, give me some game on how to avoid the tricks. Write this down. When you listen to people, try not to listen to their content, listen to their context. When you listen to people, try not to listen to their content, listen to their context. So you're in a room full of people talking, don't fall in love with the words, the titles, the phrases, the words you never heard that describes their specialty. Pay attention to the context of how they're speaking.
The Bible and the Gospels talk about this, where they went up to Jesus or a disciple and asked,
That's where you're about to lose your job.
man, sometimes they come out. And he was asking them the difference between false prophets and real prophets. Like, how do we know who to listen to? And I think it was Jesus who gave a dope illustration. He said, he gave an illustration about the wheat and the weeds. And when they're small, the wheat and the weeds look exactly the same. So what he was telling them to do is, he said, by their fruits you will recognize them. So you got to wait, because at a certain point in the growth, the weeds turn into weeds and the wheat turns into wheat. So you can't get caught up in the time frame of when they first at an adolescent stage all the way up. You got to wait and see by their actions and by their fruits.
It's so cold because when somebody is manipulating you with confidence, like, for example, I would listen to Cornel West. I never listened to the words he used. I listened to his context. Why is he saying it this way? Why is he saying it now? Why is he talking so long? How is he describing this? Why is he choosing so many big words? Who's his audience? Who do you think is his audience? That lets me know who's the operator behind the mask. And that's how I pass my judgment. If I was to listen to content, it's almost hypnotic. I will think your mask is your face. And I will start to listen to you as if the shit you're saying means something. Mm-hmm. Because at some point, you're going to suggest in your rant of words that you're superior to me and I should follow you. But if I pay attention to context, you show me your fear, your weaknesses, or your strengths. And so, when you guys see somebody in a suit and they talking,
amen, brother.
Contextually, why are they talking about this?
And this gets me sometimes. I ain't gonna lie. It get me because I love people. I love people. And I love black people. And I always tend to want to see the good. And I see the God in you almost. Like I see the greatness in you. And I see it. I see it. And I was talking to Nana earlier, and it comes from an internal complex in my story that I have because I was in the retarded class. I got looked over so many times in school, and like they thought I was stupid, and I would sit there like, nope, I'm not. Y'all just ain't. So that built up like, okay, motherfucker, I'm gonna show you. And so I'm always looking for that kid. I'm always looking for that person in everybody. And so sometimes I can get hijacked with that. So I have to be extra, extra careful because I want you to do the amazing things that you say you can do. Matter of fact, I know you could if you applied the work ethic to it and you applied the skill to it, but it ain't always the case. We in the town. Motherfucker, we are in the land of mouthpieces. Everybody talking. Everybody got a mouthpiece. Everybody saying what they about to do, can do, did, gonna do. But very few people really got the capabilities to do it. So as a business person, as an entrepreneur, it's almost like you have to develop a keener ear and to really take that time to be patient and watch what people do more than what people say.
All right, here's time for John Morant. Now I'm about to go switch directions. All right, remember we was going to say put your other cap on? This is my other cap. This here is going to be radical. This is going to be radical. It's called radical responsibility. So let me start from here. This is something that we've been cheated. We've been cheated of for a long time. Most people think the world is happening to them. They're to me. Right? So racism is happening to me. Sexism and homophobia is happening to me. I got fired from a job. They fired me. It happened to me. My friend stopped being my friend. It happened to me. I'm broke. It happened to me. I had bad parents. It happened to me. I was traumatized as a child. It happened to me. I'm traumatized as an adult. It happened to me. Social justice, it happened to me. And so as you guys can see, the idea of to me is the most powerful idea that most people possess. Now, for those who possess that, we can't judge them. But just know that's not the mindset of a builder. Too many people live in a space of fear and living a life of having to be right. Being right is more important than curiosity. Being closed is more important than being open. So, for example, I read it sometimes in the chat. Oh, well, I don't believe in that. Does it matter if you believe in it or not? Now, if you say, hey, curiosity, so say I say something in this class and it doesn't sit well with you. You're like, hey, let me ask you a question. Is it okay if I challenge that point? Absolutely. That's what it's about, right? Because sometimes your challenge may enlighten me. Please, let's do this. This dance is necessary for growth for both sides. You learn and I learn. But when you're closed, you're trying to defend, I'm right, and that's wrong. Well, I agree with that. I don't agree with this, but I agree with that part. The other side of that is that you have to get to the point of instead of life is happening to me, it's happening by me. So what does this mean? What does this mean? This means you have to take responsibility for everything that happens to you.
Everything.
No, not even the things
Everything.
you think is unfair. Everything.
Everything.
Police brutality. That's your responsibility.
Everything.
When George Floyd died, that's our responsibility. Like everything. Why is this important? Because when you blame others, you learn nothing. And when you blame others, you give them power over you. Will you take full responsibility, not blame yourself? Will you take full responsibility? You learn. Because you ask the question, what could I have done different? Will you take full responsibility? You keep your power because your power is in your hands.
Yep.
Everything is your responsibility. Let me go a little bit further into this. Now, it's important when you take responsibility, you don't go into self-blame. That's two different things. See, self-blame is now going into blaming and shaming is a powerful motivator, but a short-term toxic motivator. It has long-term damage. Highly unsustainable. Taking responsibility and blaming yourself is totally two different things. Let's give you an example. Blaming myself is, why did I do that? That shit was stupid. Taking responsibility is, okay, that happened. What could I have done different? Because I know there's something I could have done different. What is it I didn't learn from that? What lesson here is for me to learn? What did the universe give me in this opportunity when this thing happened? What is it I could not see and I can learn so I can move forward and be even wiser in the future? But instead, we leave the room empty because we leave with the comfort of, see, white people, police, Black Lives Matter. Got it? I don't know if y'all do that, but I do. You know, all that. Now, here's some other interesting stuff. When you believe that life is happening to you, let me show you another area where you might say, well, no, I believe that already. I don't think you do. Let me tell you why you don't. I'm going to catch you through the back door. This is a back door test for you. If you go through life saying, life should be this way, this should have not happened, it shouldn't rain today. You know what? White people shouldn't have this. Black people, they should be here. You know, my friends, they should be that. Guess what that is? Life is happening to me.
Yo, this changed my life. This changed my life. I don't necessarily remember where I read it, but it was mid 2000s. And when I took this on, it gives you so much power and control. So for all the control freaks out there, you really, you will love this shit. Because every time something occurs, like a lot of my spiritual friends, they always are in question of how much to give to God and the universe and how much do they do, right? Is it 80-20, 50-50? What is it? When you take control and when you take responsibility for everything that happens, you don't worry about it. You let that happen, but you take the word why and you throw it in the garbage. And you're always asking yourself the faster you can do it, the more power you have. What can I do what can I learn from this? Or what can I do to get better? Or like, what is this teaching me? What's good about this? When you ask yourself these questions, these are so empowering. Now, everybody have different methods, and the space in which you get to that, it's up to you. My mom used to tell me, and I never grasped it, but later on I realized what she was telling me, is that she called it her one pint. She said, if some fucked up shit happened, she go get a 1 pint of whatever alcohol. And then within that 1 pint, while she was drinking it, she'd say, fuck everybody, why is this happening? Cry, do all the shit. And as soon as the 1 pint was empty, she's like, all right, let's get to work. And so that's the space she needed, right? But as entrepreneurs, the faster we can get to that space, and you'll see it. This is one of my favorite times to watch it when fucked up shit happens with the sound. Do you ever hear like, oh my God, this is the 10th time that this has happened. Why does this shit always happen? We keep buying the better shit. Why? You never hear why. You never hear why. Okay, maybe it's this one. Okay, we need to upgrade. Well, what can we do? You always hearing solution rapidly. That's the shit that happens when you get punched in the face. When the sound goes bad during a live taping, if he wasn't practicing that shit, you'd see it live on TV. But it's innate in an entrepreneur. It's in you. Because It's so many problems to solve on a continuous fucking basis. We don't have. If I had to do a 1 pint exercise for every problem that happen, I'd be a drunk, slurring motherfucker, because it's too many problems. But once you get into that rhythm of, okay, people think you Superman or Superwoman because you're so used to doing it, and they're like, damn, how'd you think of that solution so fast? Because we have to, and this is what makes you powerful, and this is what changes your life. Relationships. If you always talking shit about your mate, if you use this philosophy, you chose that motherfucker. You chose him. Like my wife or whatever, she was this, that, the other. Look, man, I picked her. So obviously there was a breakdown in my filter of choosing women to pick that one. If that's the case. So now I gotta work on how I pick women. That's taking responsibility. And you move through life like that, your kids are going to see it, and they're not going to be liars and complainers. Your kids are going to witness it, and then you'll see them adopt that same philosophy. And like the butterfly effect in your life is amazing.
As a matter of fact, all right, let's raise the bar. There's levels to this, and we're not going to get to all the levels. And we are introducing higher levels of thought. I haven't chosen to highlight that because those other levels of thought require a lot of practice. And radical responsibility, so let me give you my real world engagement radical responsibility. Something happens to me, and my first response is to me. I'm talking about immediate, like that split impulse. My impulse is like, this motherfucker. That's my first response. But I don't act. And I don't pick up a phone. And I don't communicate. Because I know that comes from my means. I grew up that's how I grew up. My whole family was blame and gossip. But then I sit back and I may call Mashama to get to buy me space. Call court, buy me space. Hey man, this happened. And then the question they're gonna ask is, well, what could you have done different? They don't say, do we need to go fuck that person up? Or was it what? Oh, he tripping, she tripping. She know better than that. See, that's Me Too talk. Matter of fact, you know what's so crazy? Me Too mindset is the same mindset on victims, and the same mindset. What makes a victim is the same mindset that makes a villain.
Ooh, let's run that back.
So the Me Too mindset, which is they both give up their power, they both blame it, they both saying they are something because of the outside world, and two, they both acting in a space of fear. Because anger is nothing but fear expressed publicly. So all the brothers in the hood is getting mad and angry and hostile. For example, I live on 60th, and I like to ride my bike to San Leandro, Alameda, San Lorenzo, and then back. Now I park my bike in San Leandro because East Oakland is angry because they are suffering. And the pain they're experiencing is turning into anger, and the anger is showing itself while they're in the car. So I am not putting my body in the line of fire. That's the real talk. Now, it's not judging my people, it's understanding the state that my people are in. So if my people are in a bad space, ain't nobody gonna about to hit me with a car and be like, oh, wait, don't hit him because this brother's socially responsible. They'll smack me like anybody else. So you get to San Leandro, where you have a middle-class community who's probably more salary, because like if you ever lived in San Leandro, rented there, you got to be pretty much salary to be in San Leandro. The energy is totally different as soon as you cross that line, right? So anyway, going back to the point. So let's take this to the next level. When you understand radical responsibility, here's the part two. You require everybody around you to have radical responsibility. That's the hard part. Mm-hmm. And you don't tell them to have radical responsibility. You show up expressing radical responsibility and only acknowledging radical responsibility within them. Give you a case example. If you practice radical responsibility, gossiping goes way down. You almost stop gossiping. You know why you stop gossiping? Because you stop caring. Because that's to me. Ain't gonna do with me.
Got shit to do with me.
That has nothing. Like I may observe it as far as, I wonder why they did that in observation, but I don't want to gossip about it because it's kind of losing its interest. What does this mean? It's almost like we're wasting. Y'all know what noise is. Anybody ever go to sleep with white noise on so you don't hear anything else? Gossiping is a form of noise. So the thoughts you should be engaging in to help you process your world is being distorted by all the noise. One of the old sayings is that one of the greatest flaws of man is he can't sit in a room by him or herself with just quiet. Because when you're quiet, you get past the noise and you're able to develop self-awareness, examine self, and work on self. But you could easily spend your whole life unconsciously avoiding yourself.
Yeah, and gossiping is a distraction, a form of distraction. It can be, because it's distracting you from the fact of taking responsibility. But it allows you to lower someone else's value so you don't feel so fucked up.
Yeah, a lot of times you're trying to talk about how somebody else is lower so you can feel greater about yourself. And it's different. Now, mind you, it doesn't mean you can't talk about other people. It's how you talk about other people. If it's, did you hear what they did? Oh, that's weak. You hear what this person did? Oh, that's weak. One of the things is, if I ever hear something about somebody that really bothers me, I'm not going to say who the student is, but I heard something about a student in class, and it bothered me. And I picked up my phone. Hey, I heard this. Is it true? No, it's not. Okay. What happened? That didn't even happen at all. This is what happened. Thank you. Conversation's over. But now if you're in gossiping, it'll went from my mouth to the next mouth to the next person, and next person, next person. And then before you know, we have a room full of people believing this idea, and no one ever picked up the phone and said, hey, is that true? Okay, cool. Well, that's what they're saying, but if it comes back around, I'll make sure to say, let's cut that out. Right? That's because at the end of the day, I like that person. It's a good person that the rumor was going on around about that person. And the information that was going around, it was very damaging to their character. And so now if he ever comes across the table, I would say, hey, that's not true. You should call that person. But I don't the reason you don't engage in gossip is because that you're asking me to focus on what other people's lives mean to me, which is me giving my power to other people.
Slavery. Hey, there's so many reasons for us, as we talked about earlier, to be in a poor state. We have a lot of reasons. There's some atrocities done to us and our people in the history in this country. We still have to pull ourselves up in a space of taking responsibility for all of our actions, and in taking responsibility from a perspective of okay, cool, that happened. It was fucked up. But what can I do today? What can I do right now? How can I carry what was done, and how can I take that torch and take it as far as I can take it? Because we spend a lot of energy in this country, and I'm not saying it's wrong or right, good or bad, but us as a people spend a lot of energy on the past. You know, the reparations, the Black Wall Street, the kings and queens shit, all these things that are history shit. And I'm not one to say whether or not we should or shouldn't. I'm saying there should also be discussions about responsibility taken as a community, and how can we build, what can we do right now to positively impact our community and our youth and our children and our psychology and our mental health in a positive way that can accelerate our growth. But a lot of times you can get canceled talking shit like that. That's a cancel conversation. So, but entrepreneurs, man, that shit happened. What can I do? I was abused. I was molested. I was raped. I was all these things. I was abandoned. I'm adopted. I was mistreated. I was bullied. I was too white for the black folks and too black for the white folks. So I was confused.
Yeah, that's real talk.
There's so much shit that honestly we can lean on to be fuck ups. But as soon as you do this, you use it as fuel.
Yeah, I was taught the same. I was taught the same thing. Like, a child is a victim of molestation, but 30 years from now, if you're still talking about that molestation, you're choosing to be a victim of that molestation, and that's a painful comment
Yeah.
to make. But that radical responsibility is saying that happened now, because otherwise, okay, let's take the molestation. I want you to just frame that in your mind for a second. Now think about cultural molestation, and frame that in your mind for a second. Okay, now go back to that story when we talked about if a person comes into town and it blows up a city and it kills everybody in that city, the survivor who watched their family die becomes mentally numb and can grow up and kill another city and feel nothing from it. And then that passes down, and the vicious act continues over and over and over and over. Now, how do you stop the vicious act? Somebody has to stop the process and say, you know what, I'm gonna take responsibility for this moment and change and go in another direction. I'm gonna forgive so I can let myself be free. And then that will allow me then to look forward and be present in today. But if you don't take radical responsibility, or you don't let go of the story of your past, then you're never present. Everything you do is prepping you to avoid your past, not to explore the possibilities of your present and your future.
Yeah. So I'm the youngest of 8. And so my pops was a motherfucker. He just was. He was a crazy motherfucker. And so as adults, you hear, you see the results, you see the aftermath psychologically and emotionally in people. And if to some of my brothers and sisters, like one of my sisters, if I say the word dad, she start crying and telling stories after story after story of all the horrible things he did. And everybody had horrible stories of their own. But it's like everybody left at 18, right? Everybody scattered out of there at 18. And I try to tell them, and it's hard to do. I can't judge it, but it's hard. I'm like, look, man, this man say he fucked up the first 18. You 58 now. Like, let's not let him fuck up the rest. So let's figure out a way and get enough courage to get through it and beat it, so that now you can empower yourself, and now it gives you even more power to say, man, I overcame this tough upbringing. And I'm not saying it's easy to do, but a lot of times when those things happen to us, we're stuck in that time. But taking responsibility, oh my God, like that will get you, that'll get you halfway, more than halfway there, because now the power's in your hands.
Are we good? All right. Huh? Sure, go ahead. If you have a question online, I'll let this happen, because this was kind of a heavy weight we dropped. So if there's any questions online, we'll let the questions come through real quick, and then we're going to run hard for the next 2 books. Go ahead. Oh, you see Josh is back. Oh, yeah. You might slide the chair up here. Yeah, go ahead.
Is it on?
Yeah, it's on. It's on. We hear you. Just bring it closer to you.
So my question was, you were talking about like trauma and forgiveness, and like I just like started like voluntarily going to therapy, right? So like I've just been like digging up like a bunch of trauma and like trying to learn how to process things, and even one of the conversations that we had personally had, I was talking about forgiving my mother. That's been like a journey I've been trying to do for years. And I talked to my therapist about it. And just like, I'm curious to know, how do you expect, or not necessarily expect, but how do a group of people that aren't necessarily taught what is forgiveness look like, expect them to like move forward when forgiveness is not something that's really taught in our community? Like I thought that I got over something and it would just turned into like, instead of resentment, like guilt. So how do you process that when you're not brought up in a culture where forgiveness is actually a conversation? It's more like I'm accepting it, but I'm not forgiving it.
You just gave up responsibility. You literally gave up responsibility in everything you just said. You just said, how am I supposed to when I wasn't taught? Which is, you gave it up. Radical responsibility means that, okay, I don't know, so I will figure it out. Mm-hmm. And in that process of figuring out, that's a journey I'm about to be on. learning how to forgive, and also take responsibility for who I am today, and my past doesn't matter. Like literally does not matter. Good and bad does not matter. Let me show you how good can portray you. Everybody knows how bad can portray you, right? Like this happened to me, and we see those stories run over and over and over. Good is what LeBron James is about to go through. He was an amazing basketball player. He's going to go run a certain move. We saw what happened to Kobe. He's going to make a certain move, and his body's going to be like, no more. That's it. In his mind, he's going to suffer when he has to walk away from it. A lot of people have to suffer when they walk away from something that they excel from because they live in the story of who they used to be, and they don't welcome who they're going to become. For those of you who are 30 who haven't dealt with your aging, who tell me, I'm getting old now with your fake-ass lying. And you're turning 40, oh, I'm really old now, you're fake-ass lying. Wait till you hit 55, 60. You're not going to be able to deal with it well because you can't let go and move on to what's next. Some of you are going to be Botox like Lionel Richie because you can't accept what's next, right? And then because you can't accept what's next, you can't enjoy what life has to give to you. You have 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds, 80-year-olds who tell you they live in. Mama Linda was living that life this weekend. Like, if I had the ability to switch spirits, I would have took her spirit this weekend because she was living that life. Like, I got so much joy. I think I enjoy watching her more than anything I did this weekend, right? She was living that maximum life. Many of you guys will never experience that because you can't move on to what's next. You're so stuck in your past. So radical responsibility is, I don't care what the community never taught you. Doesn't matter. It is what it is. I don't care what your parents did. It is what it is. It's, do you want your life back? And radical responsibility means you're going to take responsibility even when the shit hurts. Even if you can prove all day long it's not fair. Oh, let me add another thing to radical responsibility. Based upon the rules of radical responsibility, rule number 1, no one can make you or take that away from you. Meaning that your mates, your friends, if you're in a relationship, it ain't that person's job to make you happy. You got to make yourself happy. That person can't give it to you, and they can't take it away from you. See, once you own it, you can share it with people, but no one can take it from you. But the problem is that your mama still has part of, you give your mother part of your power. You're giving your old stories part of your power, and now you just shared it with the community. None of that matters. Radical responsibility means that if something's not working in your life, it's okay. Other thing, there's a little bit of perfectionism in there. Because you forget we're all this animal called humans, and an animal called humans, all of us are flawed. Ain't nobody perfect. I was talking earlier today, and I said, we got to separate the menu from the food that arrives on our table. The menu may be perfect. The font is perfect. The description is perfect. The picture is perfect. But when the food arrives, it's going to be a shift. Many of us are living our life judging ourselves as if we're a menu, not realizing that, no, you're the food that's about to hit the table. Ain't going to be the same color. The bread may not be as pretty. Right? The experience might be magnificent. But if you set your expectations wrong, you won't enjoy the meal. Some of you guys are not enjoying your life because you define yourself by the menu, not the meal that's going to arrive.
Here's an exercise that you guys can do at home that I used to do a lot that helped me. It's a what exercise. So you write down in your notebook from whatever traumatic event that was or whatever you're trying to do. Say it's to forgive your mom for being a shitty parent. You start with you have 10 whats. What's good about it? What can I learn from it? What's good about it is, it made me who I am. Shit. Like, pick anything. What can I learn from it? And go through what exercises. Go through a what exercise. Don't even say why. Don't put why in that page ever. Just go through what. And just keep thinking of the what's from that particular. And you'll realize that it may take you a couple of times, but it's going to lighten up how you feel. Forgiveness is a leverage. It's leverage. It's not like it's really rocket science. Us humans, if we understand that self-acceptance is one of the steps to forgiveness. I mean, acceptance, period, is one of the steps to forgiveness. So it's not like you go from zero to forgiveness. In there's steps, and one of them is acceptance. And once you learn to accept shit the way it is, hey, shit happened. It is what it is. My mom was who she was. My pops was who she was. Boom, it gets lighter. You get closer to forgiveness. Then once you go through those what exercises, what was good about it? What was good about my mom? What was good about my mom? Like it could be anything, but make a list. What was good about her? This, and this. It gets lighter, closer to forgiveness. What can I learn from it? What can I use from it to help me in today's time? What have I used from it to help me in today's time? How has this affected, how I was raised, my mom raised me, how has it affected how I raised my children? Man, it made me a much better parent. Like this is so many, once you get to that benefit and you do a flood of that, you get closer every time. So it's just a what. You take out the why and even some of the how and just focus on the what.
So before you ask your question, let me share this too. Above radical, Shakina, going back to your point a little bit. Above radical responsibility is the need to be right. To need to be right. Okay. Here's a little exercise. If I got into an argument with you and I said 2 + 2 is 5, how long would you argue 2 + 2 is 4? Never. Probably wouldn't at all, right? Because you think to yourself, it's 4, why am I arguing this? But if I argue something that you felt you were wrong in, you'd be in that room all day long. Why do you argue? If you know it's right, what you arguing for? Right? But when you have a desire to be right, it's not because you are right. It's because of what you want to feel from feeling right. And a lot of times it comes from, 1, not like you feel like you're not good enough. 2, value. And 3, survival. See, being wrong was death. And being right was survival. So a lot of times if I challenge your right and wrong, in your mind, see, your ego's a cold motherfucker. Cold. Your ego, when it's threatened, it treats you like you're being threatened physically. Mm-hmm. That's why when y'all go through ego's the enemy, y'all be like, ow, ooh, that's real feelings. Those are real feelings. Y'all not just acting for me. Because that's tied to your survival as, remember, you're still an animal. You could put on these little cute ass clothes and play with iPhones. You're still a fucking animal. Right? And so when you feel like you're wrong, and if you had a rough ass life, you probably started to romanticize and fall in love with that. So when you fall in love with that, when I try to give you some feedback, if it ain't right against wrong, we're going to have a problem. And then your ego will be like, yo, he's threatening you. So then I say, radical responsibility, but what if I'm right? What if he's wrong? I don't know about this one, Nana. I don't know. There's been times I've been right, and he's been wrong.
Fuck your right.
Matter of fact, that's what I would say. Matter of fact, I was talking to a friend this week, and I was like, dude, you know I'm a dad, right? He said, yeah. I said, child support shit don't make no fucking sense to me. He said, what do you mean don't make no fucking sense? That dudes be complaining about fucking child support. I said, what do you mean? He goes, what if sometimes the shit ain't fair? I said, what is fair when it comes to kids? When you have a child, they hijack all of your fair shit. I could be eating my favorite food, and he could be like, what's that?
Give me that.
God damn, that's not fair. I have all the things I like to do. When I want to do them, they're all gone. She steals all those away. Come here right quick. That's her favorite word. Come here right quick. Right? And I don't know where she got that from. But the point is this. Children steal that away from you. When you're a parent, your job is not to play the fair game with your kid. Your job is to protect your kid by any means necessary. And in playing that game, if a woman is left with a child, do you understand how much? She's not just sacrificing money with your narrow thinking ass. She's sacrificing her life. And you get to live in your little motherfucking apartment, turn the TV on, watch your favorite show when you fucking want to watch it with your favorite snack and your favorite motherfucking drink, and you over there mad because you have to give up another $200 or $300 with your punk ass.
Amen, brother.
Oh, that's my
Snaps.
that's my
Snaps in the back.
That's at East Oakland. She coming. But point is, what I'm trying to highlight is this:
Yes, sir.
parenting is not a game of fairness.
No.
Parenting is a game of parenting, meaning that you gotta jump into radical responsibility with your motherfucking kids. If your kids say, I need $10, you don't negotiate, you give your child 10 motherfucking dollars. And because here's the thing, you might say, well, no, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do what you just said. Fine. Here's the motherfucking problem. If you do it and you don't own this concept, you develop resentment. And a resentment because of a weapon you spank your child with unconsciously. And you push your child away from yourself, from you. You have to understand, once you put a human being on this motherfucking earth, me has to be turned way the fuck down.
Hey, again, so on the whole baby mama, baby daddy philosophy, take full responsibility. If you talk shit, hella shit about each other, about them about you, let's take that responsibility back. We chose them. We chose them. It's on us. And it's also, and once you take responsibility, it allows you to look at it more of a blank canvas about, okay, how can I show up to this person in a way that's beneficial for me and the child? Because guess what? If you have this resentment and this blame energy towards your child's parents, your kids can feel that. They see it. And if you're the responsible one, then they're going to want to please you more. They're going to want to impress you more. So we're only teaching them to repeat the same pattern. But if you take responsibility, you're like, how can I show up to this person to where it's beneficial and it's beneficial for the child and her, and I can get what I want from them. Now the control is in your hands versus just throws up. I fucked up. It is what it is. Like I got to deal with this shit for the next 18 years. Nah, take responsibility. All right, hey, let me try. I got to deal with this shit for 18 years. Let me try different methods of communication with this person and see what works. Let me try to influence this person in a way and see if it works, so that I can really put this in a sweet spot to where it's most beneficial for our child.
If you don't teach radical responsibility, if you don't try to look, no one said you're going to be always radical responsible. You will slip. I slip. Every human being will slip from this space. It's a space that we try to be dominant in as opposed to being passive in. I mean that if I'm talking to somebody, I'm listening for my things that are happening to me, undertones. I'm listening to me taking back my ownership and responsibility, right? And if think about this, if the black community had this mindset, radical responsibility, almost 90% of the things we complain about right now would not exist. Mm-hmm. We would have different problems maybe, but I promise you right now, I can leave here right now, jump in my Volvo, drive to Alameda, go to Walgreens, come back up, come through Alameda, come back up, and I know Alameda's racist, but I ain't worried. I take that same Volvo and drive down East 14th. My people are suffering. They're in pain. I'm worried, right? Why are we shocked? We didn't see this happening before, and guess why it happened? Because we didn't take responsibility for this. If we want the black community to change, we got to say it's our responsibility. Yeah, they doing it. Racism exists. Yes, systemic. Yes, white folks. Yes, everything's wrong. Yes, radical responsibility right here. If we say that right there, we can work on solutions. Because once the solution is activated, this is a good thing about human beings. If we take the narrative cap off, which is like we like to think through narratives, but let's look at optionality. I heard somebody say, when people vote for president, they don't vote for you for what they did for them. They vote for you. They vote to say fuck you to the other person. Human beings won't remember the way it used to be. They're only going to remember what it is. So if we're trying to get people to a better space, stop trying to pay homage to what it used to be and focus on where you need to go.
Hey, my daughter, when I pick her up from school, she likes to gossip from the shit that happened in school. So the other day, she's like, Daddy, I gotta tell you. I'm like, what happened? She's like, so standing in line, Jessica showed the person behind her privacy, and I will never show my privacy. So I'm like, look, I don't think it's nice to talk about Jessica. Maybe she didn't know. No, she knew. She knew. So I'm like, okay, so what happened? What happened? The teacher had a talk with Jessica and Jessica's parents, and I'm like, damn, like I can't believe like I was so angry when I found out that I was having this daughter, right? Mm-hmm. And this is like the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah.
And it's like when you jump into the what's, you get to enjoy what you have now.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. You got it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
The microphone's still on? Make sure it's still on.
Yeah, it's still on.
Yeah, go ahead.
So what's the distinction between radical responsibility and heroism?
Oh, heroism is also bad. That's now you get a little deeper. Heroism is toxic. Is in the category of blaming and shaming. Heroism is short term. So let me tell you what happens.
And how do you
Heroism
know
means
when you're falling into?
Huh?
How do you, and how do you catch yourself when you're sliding into that?
Because what happens is, going back to that second example, I said the second stage of radical responsibility is making sure that other people own radical responsibility. Heroism is removing radical responsibility from other people. Number two, heroism will burn you out. Two, it burns those out who support you. Heroism is a short-term goal that's highly toxic. Heroism is also a very egotistical space that is unrealistic. It's another form of naive realism, right? And so heroism is so toxic. Oh, I'm going to save all my people. It's going to all be about me. I'm going to come through. Do you understand what you just put on your shoulders?
Too much.
Like you don't even give yourself, perfectionism? This is another level. You're not even, I see it all the time with a lot of these activists in our community who want to stand up for everybody. That can't sustain itself. There's no, cut it out. Look, you got to play the long game if you're talking about change for yourself, change for better society, change for a better family, better community. These are long plays. Heroism also is this idea of I can get things done right now and ignore a lot of principles. And those principles, like, okay, the other day, Diallo went to work out with me. And I'm on this new thing where I'm getting to my pre-COVID rhythms of speed and level of performance. So I'm turning it up, right? So he's working out with me. And I had already went to the gym that morning. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll take you to the gym. And I work out with you, but it's on my new pace. So about 20 minutes into it, it was like working out with Cassandra. 20 minutes into it, he's about ready to throw up. And he comes back out the bathroom, and I said, what's wrong? He's like, I'm about to throw up. This is like an evening workout. It's not in the morning workout. And the first thing I said to him is that you can believe you can eat what you want to eat. You can believe in your mind you can eat what you want to eat. You can believe in your mind you can eat when you want to eat. But life has a way of telling you when you have to eat and what you have to eat. And that's the same thing with people who break principles in the name of heroism. They live with this idea they can do what they want to do, when they want to do it, how they're going to do it. They'll break these rules and these principles. But these principles will get you. And when they get you, it's so destructive. Yeah. So it's so important. Like, remember I said the system and the we is more important than the I? Mm-hmm. Heroism will always lean heavier into the I and the technician and the things that we talk about in business.
Yeah. Internal, external, right? It's not my journey. Like, our goal and our job is to be the best we can be. Change is fucking hard, right? Change is hard. So when you want to change is hard. And so the steps to get there in the journey is hard. So the psychology around thinking that you can save and change other people without them wanting to do it themselves or having their own leverage is a distortion mentally. And a lot of times it happens a lot to people in this, I would say a lot in this class, because we grow up, if we were the ones who made it out our hood, right? We made it out our hood, and you get some form of survivor's guilt, meaning, damn, I made it. I'm the one that's making the good money in the hood, and all my partners are suffering, shooting each other, killing, dying, welfare. Like it can, that energy could sneak up on you. And really, over time, can make you think that it's possible for you to do that. Now, that's different from saying, I want to do I want to be the best me that I can be for myself, and then for my family, and then for my community. That's a long game mentality. That's healthy. That's healthy. But heroism, you'll end up killing yourself.
Yeah, wasn't Gandhi say, become what you want other people to be? Something like that, some phrase like that, right? Become what you want society to become. Like you have to be that person first, right? But here's the other thing about heroism. Let me bring this back to heroism too. Heroism is a major problem in corporate America right now, because heroes often are rewarded, but they also they're not lasting long. They're on drugs. They're not able to sustain these long careers because they're falling into these roles of being a hero, right? But it's almost like it's not sustainable, right? It is also too. Heroes become addicted to being right. Mm-hmm. And when you're a hero, you actually become closed and you're horrible at feedback, and you also start to destroy your team. So if you get a person in a room, this is okay. If you're stuck on being right, anybody who's got addiction to being right, you pay attention to how many friends you have. You don't have a lot of friends, do you?
Nope.
You know why? You set the energy out the room every time you come in a room. And you don't even know you're doing it. It's an innocent space. You're like, you don't want to hang out with me. Because you always got to be fucking right. That means you can't even take feedback. You can't talk to people. So guess what people are doing? They either just they lowering the lowest level of communication to keep themselves comfortable, or they're just avoiding you. Mm-hmm. And so you think, after a while, you start thinking the world's superficial because everyone around you is superficial just to tolerate you. Mm-hmm. So that right shit is so, these are heroes have this shit in them. I'm going to be the one, right? And then what you realize, you'll wake up one day, and, yeah, you won by yourself in that room that no one comes to.
So then my follow-up, and then I'm move out the way, is, so you think about mission-based companies, right? They're usually existing to solve something, right? So I've been thinking a lot about like Impossible Meat or things like that. So anybody who's trying to solve like a massive problem, a lot of times I'm not talking to Mike. A lot of times what I perceive is like they're kind of embellishing what the problem is in order to get people on their side. And so
Toxic.
What does radical responsibility look like for a mission-based business?
Okay. Mission-based business, if you can remove the blame for your team and look into what happened, to learn from the mistakes, mm-hmm. and make the mistakes the dialogue, not the shaming and blaming. That's how you transform that. Mm-hmm. The where these companies go wrong is a lot of finger pointing and a lot of superiority and heroism, kind of all mixed into it. It's a very toxic environment, so the turnover rate is pretty high. If you want to bring the turnover, okay, and why is this more important for black folks? Because y'all know I like to translate to black folks shit. Like if I'm talking to white people, I can just stop right there and just kind of run down that street. When I'm talking to black people, this is where I want to go with this. We have super talented people, to his credit, in our community. We do have to go through a process to make sure there's value alignment and the way that the people think is in alignment with what we need for that team to be successful. But quite often, they may lack skills and exposure. Now, in that process, we're going to have to develop a lot of our people because our people is we're like gold that just needs to be dusted off, mm-hmm. or needs to be taken through the system and then cleaned up, right? But in order for us to maximize the input to output, we're going to have to build systems and engagement behavior that gives almost a place for development, but also hard drive, mm-hmm. right? And so in that place, we got to get to a point where something happens, okay, let's process what happened. Mm-hmm. If we focus on shaming and blaming, it could be a temporary motivator, but it will ultimately lead where you're talking about, mm-hmm. in a disruptive space. You got to get to the point where you're doing this to a lot of your employees. All right, let's talk about it. What happened? What could we have done different? All right, what did we both learn from this? Let me think about what I could do different as well. That's another thing. As a leader, you have to say that as well to your team. What can I do different to support you? And the reason for that is because it's that complex. It's hard to define a perfect system. Like there's no such thing as a perfect model that fits human behavior, right? So it's hard to find a perfect system. So as a leader, you got to always tweak and adjust your ideas and your systems to meet the people's natural organic needs. And what you'll find when you're working with human beings, you can't have rigidity as a part of your system. It has to be based upon this idea of discovery, growth, and development. Now, there's illnesses that fall in the middle of that. Some people are so psychologically damaged, they're so deep in a wormhole, you can't take somebody who's deep in a wormhole and apply all these tools and expect it means anything. We're talking about like, I'm working with Shabisha. I can apply a lot of these tools, I'm gonna get a return on my money, right? Take court, apply these tools, return on my money. But I take the wine lady, apply these tools, she has deep, deep problems. All she's gonna do, every time I say something, slap, slap, it don't give a shit, slap. So at that point, you gotta know when to say, okay, that's enough of that. Right? You have to be able to navigate. So picking the right person, developing the process, and then sometimes too, are we failing you because we fell in love with a story about you? Oh man, she came she went to the same college I went to. She's an alumni. We were both from West Oakland. You know what I mean? Her father rode with my mother. Okay, but Shabisha sucks. She's a wine lady. I'm not saying, you know what I'm saying? In theory. I gotta be able to say, you're the wine lady and leave it there, but not try to give you extra kudos because I'm stuck on some old school story.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right? Go ahead, Cassandra. Come on. I knew this was gonna rattle the cages a little bit because black folks are stuck in fairness, which is the total opposite of radical responsibility. Total opposite.
So radical responsibility went the wrong way for me, I think, especially in the beginning of Hope. Learning about this concept and really wanting to grow and really wanting to develop to the point where it almost became kind of masochistic, where in the desire to do well, you beat yourself up over.
So you start blaming yourself. Blaming and shaming.
I wouldn't use the word blaming and shaming. It felt like responsibility. It felt like wanting.
Give me an example. Give me a story. Change the character, change the story, change the details, but kind of give me a parallel simulation so I can kind of understand where you're coming from.
A lot of examples from work come to mind. I can't think of anything specific, but just being in a space where you understand the concept of radical accountability, wanting to embrace that and figure out what you can do, tweak, change to perform better, be better, show up better, and then it never ending. There never being, there's a line that gets crossed at some point. It fades from black and white, from responsibility to shame, and it fades into this gray space.
Perfectionism?
Maybe.
So let me talk to you about a mental flaw of human beings. And I talked about this earlier today. Human beings are accurate our brain is accurate at measuring precision. So if I say, precision is here, and I'm here, am I off? He's like, yeah, you're off. What we're not accurate at saying is that if there's 150 notches and I moved you 50 notches, human beings don't recognize those 50 notches. We're not good at that, right? Radical responsibility is also being realistic as who you are as a human being and giving yourself room to move, as opposed to measure yourself by this rigidity of precision. Because rigidity of precision won't acknowledge that you just moved 50 notches. That's fucking amazing, right? And you're gonna realize that most of the world is 25 notches behind that. So based upon the world, subjectively, you're great. But because your brain has a line of perfection, which is you're defining your life by, guess what, the menu, not the meal that's gonna come to the table. And so you always measure yourself by the menu, like it should be just like this as it said. It should not, it had two pickles, it should have 3. I am so over this. In this case, it had 1. This is just too much, I can't handle this. That's a menu. And so you have to learn to recognize growth within that 100 notches as just as valuable as a movement towards precision. And so radical responsibility is you have to put everything in context. You're a human being getting better, not the best. You're a human being moving the needle, not completed the process. You're a human being taking responsibility, not fucking up. It's a big difference. Or personalizing. Okay, for example, let's say in radical responsibility, you're like, I'm just not good at that. Did you just use the word I? What the fuck you mean? What is I not good at that? Did you just personalize this loss? Or did you say to yourself, okay, I gotta get better at this? I mean, I don't need to hear about you being lesser than or you're not qualified because you didn't hit a mark. You turn the conversation into like, oh, I want to improve. And the level of perfection you can't realize. You cannot realize it. If I told you, what is a perfect version of you, and anything you say at this point, you just made that shit up. Yeah. You can't realize that. So if you understand, you can't even imagine a better version of yourself. So why are you trying to control the process? It's because you have a degree of perfectionism built in there.
Also, too, it's a mindset, an ownership mindset. That's it. It's ownership. So you own your house. I know it rarely happens, Cassandra, but your house gets dirty, right?
Probably never.
Probably never. I know probably never.
Dirt don't even live outside. Plastic lawn.
So your house gets dirty. If you're at work and your house is hella dirty at home, hella dirty, and you know you got to clean it, you say, shit, my house is dirty. I got to clean it. You own it, right? And you know you can do it. It's within your capabilities. Maybe it's hella messy. Maybe it needs, but you own it and it's yours and you can get to it. Right now you can't. So right now it has to stay messy, and that's okay because you got other priorities. I got to get the kids to school. I got to work. I got other priorities. I got to go to the gym, all these things. Then once I get to it, I have the tools to clean it. Same thing with everything else. When you take radical responsibility, you just own it. And even say you don't have the tools, you have enough confidence that you have enough curiosity that you are willing to learn, whether that's ask somebody, read a book, get training, practice, whatever. You just own it. And then once you can, I can take care of it now or later or whatever it is, but I know I own it. And that should make you feel in control. Now, it is hard sometimes, especially when say you took 3 or 4 L's in a row and you just don't want shit on your shoulders. You don't want it to be your fault. I don't want it to. Can I give this to somebody else? I'll be feeling that way a lot. But if you can just muster up to say, okay, no, I own it. I'm gonna take responsibility for it. I ain't doing shit about it right now. I'm gonna move it over here, and then when I get to it, I'm gonna put some attention to it. And it don't even have to be perfect. It just, all it is you just own it.
Thank you.
All right, John. All right, with that being said, let's roll through to see how much Eat Myth we can get into. But we wanted to open up because, it was a great weekend. That was good. And that was solid too, bro. The ownership was hot. That was hot. That's why it's this is why like this journey is so important to have great people be a part of it. Because what it does, it allows you to, for the class to be things I can't even imagine. And like his response, I love this response. Like I'm over here applauding in my head, going bravo in my tuxedo, standing up, bravo. Like, I love that. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned this, Brother Monty, a lot of y'all see him online, is going to produce the podcast, the Wolfgang podcast, and brother's dope. I've had a chance to interact with him. Young brother, but old spirit, right? So just a good brother. So I'm excited about the possibilities, but just having good brothers around me and good sisters around me. Marquita's looking at the screen like something better not make a mistake. Look at it right now. She's policing that screen. I just want to say, I appreciate everybody. Danielle's back in the background with her sniper waiting for somebody to make a mistake, so she just put some shit back in check. So I appreciate everybody. So anyway, let's move into E-Myth. Let's make it happen.
Secret Gardens.
Oh, we have the magnificent, wonderful Shabisha reading for us today, bringing to us passages from the book of E-Myth. Sister, can you please step up and bless us with your reading capabilities?
First, giving honor to God. Every extraordinary business knows that when you intentionally build your business around the skills of ordinary people, You will be forced to ask the difficult questions about how to produce a result without the extraordinary ones. You will be forced to find a system that leverages your ordinary people to the point where they can produce extraordinary results over and over again.
So let me say this real quick. It is really easy to build a business around heroes. Let's say you want to do, let's say you want to build an auto garage. You hire 5 amazing mechanics. That's almost as easy as it gets. Even though, long term, a lot of traps. Hard to expand, hard to scale, hard to duplicate, but quite easy on the side of management. Don't try to build smart systems where you take a complex job. It's better to take a complex job, pay people less, and have less talented people doing the job. So you can always interchange people. So you change the oil, you change the tires, you change the spark plugs. You follow this document, I'm gonna train you, and you do the same thing over and over again, and we charge. This is very difficult to do, number one, if you are into perfectionism. Why is this difficult? Because you want whoever replaces you to be just as good as you. When you are replaced in your business, accept a 10% talent drop. 2, a lot of times make sure your talent is aligned with customer needs. I can argue all day long the best burger in the world is not McDonald's, but I bet you whoever the best burger in the world, they can't even touch McDonald's bottom line. The reality is, what do people want? See, if you're into what you want to give people, then you're going to trap yourself into a way a business should run. If you find out what the market needs and you design for that, then you figure out what expertise you deliver, and then how do you divide that expertise amongst lower quality talent, so that way if somebody gets upset, acts kind of funky, kind of strange, next please. And your business continues to grow. When you build a smart system, you can take that same idea, place it in Chicago, New York, Detroit, Texas, and that business will run at the same velocity. So learning to leave that whole, I need LeBron James, and I need a group of players with no names on their jersey who can perform a task to a certain point based upon a system I created.
Yo, the Rolls Royce, the pinstripes on a Rolls Royce have been for the last 11 years, they've been painted by one man. He makes a 6-figure living, all that shit. However, if something happens to him, Rolls Royce is fucked. So unless they have a pipeline of apprentices that stand behind him and learn, but their system, and that's why their cars cost so high. But as an entrepreneur, like, it's counterintuitive for us to think that we want the best minds. However, that's why I love how you put this together. If your thinking is radical responsibility type thinking, then you're always going to be able working your best to simplify your systems down to a place to where an ordinary person can do it. So that when mistakes happen, you're breaking the mistakes down and figuring out, okay, what can I put in place here? Not like, damn, you fucked up. Don't do that again, shit. If you take responsibility, you're like, okay, how did he fall? What happened? Oh, that was his blind spot. Okay, so I'm going to put a bumper there, and I'm going to put a light there, and then back off and see what happens. And then over time, ordinary people are doing extraordinary things.
So this also allows you to, when you observe businesses now, you can change the angle when you study successful businesses. See, many of you guys have studied successful businesses from heroism space. You know, this person, Steve Jobs, built Apple. Now that you're learning this in class, you're going to study the systems that Apple has to produce their products. You're going to study their distribution systems, their manufacturing systems, their management systems, their decision-making decisions, their sales systems, right? Because now you see the value in systems. Many of you guys, when you read about building systems as opposed to heroes, many of you guys are getting heart attacks. Like, oh my God, that's a lot. It's because you've been spending all your time studying heroes. Now you shift your mindset towards, and another thing too,
yeah.
In this class, people always say, well, how do I do this? I always think to myself, look it up. I could be an asshole, but that's why I say in my head, so I'll never say it in person because I don't want to make you feel bad. But I don't feel like saying, look it up, right? Because in business, you got to get that rhythm of looking shit up. And so now, shift your energy towards studying how does something come to the market? Systemically, how does it sustain itself? Even a shelf on a market, how does that shelf work systemically? Like a chef in a grocery store, systemically, how's that being managed, ran, thought, processed? Because if you don't understand that, because some of the things you don't need to reinvent the wheel. There's so many systems out there, it's ridiculous. But you won't be able to build it if your whole focus is around superheroes and what you're going to do, and your ego's hijacking the value of who you are and what you're the original thought of this one idea.
When I worked at Intel, I first got hired making, it's 95, making $40K a year, right? And if you ever worked in manufacturing or assembly, I just stood at this one station and pressed one button. Boop. Up, another one comes. Boop. So for 12 fucking hours, I just pressed a button. Now, it's hella people in they stations doing the exact same thing. And in the mid-90s, 40K was good money. So the desire to be promoted was just because I was bored as fuck. But the system was flawless. Like, we making microchips for microprocessors with people with no degrees from the hood, wherever, because they simplified it so well that you can produce a microprocessor that runs computers, cars, everything in a factory. That's how you want to be. That's how we all want to get.
Next one.
Number 3, the model will stand out as a place of impeccable order. At the core of rule number 3 is the irrepressible fact that in a world of chaos, most people crave order.
This is really deep. This is way deeper, and I don't even have enough time to even. I think I have to come back to this later on. I'm gonna give it just a little surface of why this is so fucking deep. People who lead and people who follow are really two different cultures. Naive realism wants everybody to think the same. Most people can't live. Okay, the greatest challenge for an entrepreneur is learning to master uncertainty, using the tools of probability to navigate uncertainty. Let's say this again. Most human beings run from uncertainty. Uncertainty is equal to being in the dark. When you was a human being in the wild, the dark was your greatest fear, because that's when you were at your greatest weakness and you was uncertain. If I challenge an idea that you define that idea as your idea, or you identify yourself by the idea, taking that idea away from you is like putting you in the dark. It's uncertainty. If your beliefs are removed tomorrow, like when Shakina sat in that chair and she asked that question, deep in her heart, there's a fear of uncertainty that overrides everything that I said. That says, if you let go of this, then who will I be? Some of you have a rigid, I'm always right, closed-minded, rough-ass personality. And we might say to you, hey, become humble, practice humility, open yourself up, practice curiosity, become meek, meditate. And you'll say, but I might lose my mojo if I do all that shit. And there's a point when you'll get to a point where you don't know who you are. And many of us will snap back to who we were. Because you know what that point is? It's the void. It's that void. We run from the void. So what most people look for in life is just give me certainty. So when you design a work job environment for people, you have to provide them this sense of certainty, although you live in a space of uncertainty. Mm-hmm. So what you believe in and what you give them will quite often feel different. It will feel sometimes like it's like you're a healthy person, but you're a vegetarian, but you're giving them McDonald's burgers. And you're like, I don't want to give them burgers, but that's what they want. That's the only reason they're there. If you create a vegetarian environment, you're going to lose all your best employees. Mm-hmm. And so you have to be able to separate. This is why being right is going to fuck you. Because you got to give up. Because when you live in a space of curiosity, you can You can live outside the tyranny of the or, this or that. You can be this and that. I can live in uncertainty and still support certainty.
Yeah, and there's so many layers to that. It
What's
goes
layers?
so many deep. Like scientifically, as humans, it's a human need. So some scientists say 6 or 7, whatever, Maslow, whatever. But all of them are constant with those two. That mankind, it's a human need for certainty. But the weird part about it is, in that list too is a human need for uncertainty, which means if shit gets too consistent, then you get bored. That's why I have conversations with sometimes a few of my female friends, and it's like, why you break up with dude? He was too boring. He would wash my dirty drawers, but he just was too boring. So what? So what you looking for then? Because a lot of times it's innate in us to where if shit is too constant, shit gets boring. So there's an energy, there's a balance. So as employers, as entrepreneurs that are creating these systems, we're creating from fucking chaos. So that's why the whole right and wrong thing has to be null. We can't be like, so you guys don't know what I just did to get you guys payroll this week. Man, you don't even, if you knew, because you want to feel right. You want to be the hero. Fuck that shit. It's not their job to hear that shit. It's your job to make it happen, because you have to provide a sense of security. Now, we also have to provide a sense of growth. Like you see how this program has evolved, right? Every year it's leveling up. He's doing something different, getting better, more quality, changing the scenery up, adding more value to the stage presence, to the currency of it. That's also taps into our human need to see evolution and improvement. So this piece is so deep. I'm gonna stop because we can keep going.
Oh, it could be. Yeah, this could be a long one. Keep going. Keep going.
It is these relatively fixed points of reference that an orderly business provides its customers and its employees in an otherwise disorderly world.
Like okay, just one last thing. If you talk to me, I can be ambiguous. I can, because that's part of how you have to think. It could be this, it could be that. I could be over here, it can be over here too. I can sit with this, I can sit with that too. Come on, can you land one place? That's good for me. In your work environment, people need to know when I come to work, this is what I expect. I expect my checks on Friday. I expect you to say this. I expect when I do this, this is what's going to happen. This is why corporate world feels that way. This is why people get mad when somebody messes with their desk. Or the janitor comes in at night and moves stuff around. They're like, we gotta get another janitor because I left my shit right here. It's all over here now. Right? For an entrepreneur, we'd be like, oh, he moved it. That's it, right? It's a different mindset. And so you have to understand, as you learn this new way of thinking, you're learning in this class to be a leader. You're not learning in this class to be normal. Right? Because normal, remember, we all flawed, but normal has more flaws. And they live by different principles. Leaders have to live by a different set of principles, which is a higher standard of principles. And those principles you have to recognize, separate the principles you're living by and the principles of the wild. Next.
A business that looks orderly says to your customer that your people know what they're doing. A business that looks orderly says to your people that you know what you're doing. A business that looks orderly says that while the world may not work, some things can. A business that looks orderly says to your customer that he can trust in the result delivered and assures your people that they can trust in their future with you.
I'm gonna give, I always pick on Shakina because she's not taller than me, not yet. But I'm gonna give her a compliment. So I went to her business a long time ago. Might have been a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. Not long, that's long for me. And I walked in and I looked at her windows, I'm not feeling that. Looked out front, not feeling that. Looked at the door, I'm not feeling that. Went inside, she had a clusterfuck of shit, didn't feel that. So she asked me, what do you think about my business? I gave her a rundown. Doesn't look structured enough. Doesn't feel like a business yet. It feels like a clubhouse. Go to her gym now. You walk in that motherfucker, it says, oh, you come, this is a professional gym, and I'm your trusted advisor. Right? Part of making your employees believe that is also asking them to uphold that structure. With 510 Media, they will tell you, anybody that's been with 510 Media more than a year will say, my God, shit, Marquita's first how I wore her down was, we gotta do it this way. It's ways I expect things to show up. Because what am I communicating to not only the employees, but to them, this is the pride of what we have. I can't expect them to have value in this shit I can't expect them to have value if I don't have value. And the value comes from the way that we show up to our environment. Cleanliness. They'll tell you, you want to see me go to the next level? We'll let the place get dirty, and I'll walk in. If trash is hanging out that garbage can, explain to me why that's a situation. I went to one of my clients has a food space. I won't call it what it is because you'll know what it is. And I went to go get some products from him last Saturday, and the ground needed to be power washed. The gates need to be power washed. I'm thinking, I'm about to go have food from you, and I have to step past this dingy, dirty type stuff. Don't be surprised if you lose customers. Now, there's a place that makes donuts off of 38th Avenue, Donut Savant. They dropped their spot right in the middle of the hood, but that shit's polished and structured. And when you walked in, you just feel like, oh, this is going to be a great experience. And it is. Donut Savant is banging. It's in East Oakland. But that is the trick. They're right in the middle of the hood, and they feel like they're the brightest light in the hood. And these are a group of white hipsters selling donuts, making cash with a line. Now, that could have been your black ass, right? But it's a mindset that this is telling you right here of how you run your environment. So when people walk in, you setting the standards of how they're supposed to even behave. 510 Media has never had funk. We've had a few killers. I'm not being cute with this word. This is not me being slain. I'm talking about professional killers. I didn't know they were killers when they came in, but we've had killers come to 510 Media. And they've all carried themselves at a certain standard. And you know who taught me that? The Nation of Islam. I used to watch the most hardest gangsters go see Farrakhan or go to a bakery, and you know what's taught me that? Nordstrom's. You ever seen a gangster at Nordstrom's? He looks like everybody else. You ever seen a gangster at a high-end 5-star hotel? He looks like everybody else. Why? Because those environments demand the highest behavior from their participants. So if your customers are acting kind of strange in your space or showing up to your space in a certain kind of way, take radical responsibility. We back at it again, baby. We ain't stopping. You take radical responsibility and say, don't blame your customer. Look at the environment they're walking in, and I promise you, you'll find the problem.
Yes, what did I do to attract this? What can I change to attract something different? Yes, I love it. I love it. As an entrepreneur, that's going to be your thing. That's going to be your thing. Like, some things are just signaling. Understand that. Some things are in place in business to signal for you to behave different. We are click, word, response animals. We animals. So you'll walk into certain places. Like if you go to the Louis Vuitton store in Santana Row and they got 2 big-ass security guards in suits standing outside, what they need them for? You don't really need that. Because it's signaling. It signals for you that this is something big, this is something important, something fancy. They got this, I better. It shapes you, makes you put your chest out. You change. And then once you walk in, they keep signaling you to alter your behavior to where they want you to be. And that's such a nugget. That's such a nugget. And whenever there's behavior in there, and we're not talking the mean, we're talking the ends of the spectrum. That's there to shape the ends of the spectrum because most humans are going to behave in a certain manner. But to shape the ends of that spectrum, you have certain signals in place that every time they hit that signal, they keep adjusting their behavior, adjusting. Yeah. We used to be hella hood, right? And the kids, 12-year-old, East Oakland, riding bikes, grabbing fruit off trees, doorbell ditching, whatever. But that one black mother who wouldn't let us cuss, guess what we didn't do? We didn't cuss around her because she had a standard. She was a church lady. She held herself in high esteem. Her house was impeccable and immaculate. And she showed us respect, and she expected it in return. So we'd be like, hey, Mrs. Johnson, and we'd talk for 5 minutes and not say one cuss word. Why is that? It's exactly what this is right here.
Keep going.
A business that looks orderly says that the structure is in place.
That is exactly, because think about this. Isn't it scary to do business with somebody and feel like they have no structure? And the way you communicate a structure is how you present your business. Next one.
Number 4, all work in the model will be documented in operations manuals.
This operation manuals. So our staff has a retreat coming up to continue to start building out operation manuals, details, and so forth, so on. Remember I told you guys systems is more important than kingdoms, right? The United States democracy system is much more powerful than any kingdom in human history. But what makes American system, what do we reference all the time? The laws and the Constitution. And without a Constitution, without laws, you have nothing. So you have to document with your business. You have to start writing. And here's the thing. You don't sit down one weekend and try to write up your whole goddamn business. You accumulate it over time, and you look back one day, and one day you open and be like, wow. Also, if you overwrite, no one ever pays attention to it. It has to be written just right. Just enough for people to see it, respond to it, and follow it. Like a basic orientation booklet, basic rules of how you do things, and then back the fuck up. You start getting into like all kind of details and unnecessary details, or trying to use a document to control people, and you have a whole different problem. So without documentation, when you document stuff for other human beings, have you ever worked in a company and somebody, when you had a job somewhere, and somebody wrote a letter, and watch how your company respond when a letter comes through, as opposed to they give them a phone call? When things are written, human beings we have a whole different level of response. So documentation as you grow a company, because remember, the larger your business become, the less control you have. And after a while, the leader of your company is that documentation. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Next.
Documentation is an affirmation of order.
Keep going.
The operative word here is clear.
This next one, yeah, go ahead.
Documentation provides the clarity structure needs if it is to be meaningful to your people.
So remember, going back to people need structure? Documentation provides a lot of that structure they need. See, when people get into arguments, you ever seen Christians argue? They surrender their positions to the Bible. The Bible of a corporation is your documentation. It allows human beings to work with different ideas, different beliefs. A smart system can tolerate differences and allow differences to work side by side in a harmonious way. But a poor system will allow differences to rear its head and battle and take away your money. Next.
Number 5, the model will provide a uniformly predictable service to the customer while the business must look orderly. It is not sufficient. The business must also act orderly. It must do things in a predictable, uniform way.
So we had this thing when we first started 510 Media. We said every time somebody from 510 Media engages the outside world, we want everybody to have the same experience. If you met me, you met Shabisha, you met Marquita, you met Kevin, you met Dre, you met Mashama, it should be the same experience. And your job is to grow people, create structure, create standards, create an idea, create an ideology, create values that delivers consistency. And then value consistency. Because human beings move based upon expectations. When you go into McDonald's, they said the reason McDonald's is really successful has nothing to do with the food. is you know what you're going to get every time you go there. It doesn't change. You could be in a foreign country. See, you're traveling on a plane, and you get off the plane, and you'll get some food. A lot of times you're taking a risk of food poison, or inconsistencies, or bad food, or bad options, or even if you might be a person that lives in a space of scarcity, and I don't want to spend my money and have a bad experience. So I know where to go to get a certain kind of food and have a guaranteed response. So McDonald's break the consistency, you might as well say they just close their doors. So if you're running a business, think about this. Think about any store you like to support. You go there with a certain group of expectations. You expect a certain kind of greeting, certain kind of customer service. Even if it's like Costco where you don't get that kind of customer service, you expect certain kind of deals, certain kind of structure. Those things have to be consistent.
Hey, it's funny, if you've ever had one of them jobs, I know I have, dumbass jobs, where their system had you to have to say a bullshit-ass greeting, right? Like, it's a great day at 24-Hour Fitness. How can I provide you excellent service today? Like, that's some stupid-ass shit in your mind because you just say, hey, how can I help you, what you need? As an employee, it sucks, and you only do it when the manager's close to you. It's a great day. But when your homies or whoever come around, you just say, hey, what's up? What you need? Because it's counterintuitive to how you feel. But as an employer, you're curating the experience because how can you grow, change, improve, scale if everyone's doing different things? How can you improve your business? So there's marketing research done that if you just insert one extra word or take out one extra word, it impacts the business, customer service, surveys, or increase sales or decrease sales. Like those things have been fine-tuned down to minute words and what they wear and what they say and how they say it. So that's how companies grow, because you don't know who your customer base is until your customers start coming in, and you got to tweak it. So like he said, our goal in what we do is we want our customers, whoever they have to talk to, because in our company, a customer has to talk to everybody. They have to go through the whole pipeline. So I cannot have them having a different experience with different people in our pipeline. I got to have them say, damn, I worked through your whole pipeline and everybody was just dope, helpful. The customer service was great. That shit saved us because we sat in staff rooms many a times tweaking our presentation, tweaking emails, creating different email lists, giving me a scenario and being like, nope, that's hella rude, or don't do that shit. Don't say that shit no more. This is how you rephrase it so that we have the same rhythm of talking to customers and interacting with them. That shit saves us. And that's going to help you grow as a company too, because the dope part about it is even if the customer goes off somewhere else, for whatever reason, cheaper, more convenient, and they don't get the experience that you guys curated and perfected, you raised the bar for them. Now it's like, this is nasty food. I got to go back.
And here's the thing too. I think this is one. Let me talk about crossroad where black people feel like they've been betrayed. The crossroad where black people feel like we've been betrayed is we feel if we make people happy and we provided a good experience, that's a form of consistency. No. Consistency and good customer service are two different standards that have to go side by side, but one doesn't replace the other. So, because like you, a lot of times you may get a customer, he smiled, he left, you gave him everything. I gave him some hookup, I did this, I provided some extra food, I did all these things. But the last time you came, it was a different experience. And so what that person is coming back is for a return experience. Now, if you do the exact same experience and you sweeten the offer, right? Or let's say you provide the same experience. So for example, there's an Italian restaurant in Alameda that I really like called Trabocco's. Yeah, Trabocco's. But let me tell you where they fucked up on me a long time ago. The owner used to come by my table every time. Hey, how you doing? And we said, bye. And a few times he became inconsistent. He didn't feel like speaking that day. And that bothered me. Because I don't have to come to your restaurant. Because see, there's a point when I come to your restaurant because I'm hungry and I want that food. And then there's another level of coming to your restaurant because I want to support you. I think about how much more money you leave off the table if I don't show up for wanting to support you. Your consistency makes me loyal to you. Right? Good quality food means, for example, Bake Sale Betty, I go every purple moon when it finally hits me, but I don't consistently go because the experience is so inconsistent because that line can be medium, short, or long. And that experience alone is too overwhelming. I think that's going to be her. I think that's going to kill her in the end. Because all it takes is somebody to come with a compatible sandwich that can provide a consistent experience, and she's dead in the water. And so I don't go there all the time. But if I was able to go to Bake Sale Betty and I would know I would not have to wait no more than 10 minutes. For example, across the street is a place called that makes the No, they make the tacos. Cholita Linda. Cholita Linda, I go to more than I go to Bake Sale Betty. Why? Because I get the same experience time and time and time and time and time again. Bake Sale Betty, although there's some wonderful people who work there, they're not thinking about controlling the experience I'm having every time I go there. They're just looking at the line as social proofing and not realizing that, but the line is creating inconsistent experiences. And so, consistent experiences, I mean, how many times have you went to a restaurant, the food was great, went back there, and maybe the waiter didn't speak to you the same? And remember, food is subjective. Your experience is subjective. Now, the food may taste different just because you waited differently or the way the person responded to you. There used to be a place called Jesso's back in the days. And Jesso's used to make fried fish. When he first started, he had the best customer service I've ever seen. If you waited 3 minutes too long, he'll come out with a nice, hey, I apologize for that. I'm also comping you this because I don't want you to have that experience, right? What happened was Jesso developed distractions. I won't get to his personal life. Major distractions. And his service started to have a tone of entitlement to it. And it was, at least my food's good. At least you're here with some cool black people, right? That means he started creating inconsistencies. So for a lot of times, black people think you haven't failed customers because you gave them great customer service, but your service is always inconsistent. And so it's almost like a form of narcissism, where you think what I'm doing for you is good enough. No, you have to create a certain effect and stick to that same effect over and over and over and over and over again. You guys got that? I'm going to skip to the Eagles enemy just real quick, and because we only have 2 more slides now, because I want to keep rolling. No questions. We won't skip to questions. Skip to slide number 17. Everybody, slide 17. I'll give the online team a little time to catch up and give Shabisha some time to make adjustment. You ready? You guys ready? Okay, cool. God, you guys are moving all professional and efficient back there. They gave me a thumbs up. That shit was like Alpha Brada. I was Alpha Bravo, whatever. I don't know shit. Go ahead, next one.
Do I need this, or is it really about ego? Are you ready to make the right decision, or do the prizes still glitter off in the distance? To be or to do, life is a constant roll call.
That was a closure of that for the be or to do. It says, do you need this, or is it really about ego? You know, and I think I had a talk with my son. He wanted an iPhone 12. He was going to take this money he made from his big job and take it all and drop it on the iPhone 12. And he has an iPhone 5e, I think it is, whatever, 3, 6e, I don't know the numbers. He's 14. He's about to drop a G or $11, $12 on his cell phone. And I was like, what are you doing? You about to give up your freedom for a cell phone? And in the day, I asked him this is so dope. I asked him a straight blank question. I said, let me ask you something, son. Are you doing this because at the end of the day, you know you're going to receive a status upgrade, and right now it's just too hard to think about anything else? And he's like, yeah. That was dope. That was a technical ass question. He's just, yeah, that's what it is. And I was able to talk him off 2 hours later, from 12 to 2 o'clock in the morning, talk him off that ledge, and convince him to not give up his power for something that will give him any major life improvements. It was like the iPhone 12, like his phone was like a flip phone or a BlackBerry, and now he's finally moving to a new world. That's different. He has a phone. I played with his phone before, fast, does everything the new phones can do. He doesn't take pictures. He ain't into the photography stuff. He just wanted to be able to pull his phone out and be like, yeah, I got an iPhone 12. It's nothing for me with no money in his pocket. And I'm like, boy, you want choices, not a fucking phone, right? So a lot of times we're making these decisions about things we want and what we want to do and what we need in our life. It ain't got nothing to do with what we need. It's really tied to our ego. And the thing is that it's okay to stimulate the ego. It's okay to say, I want this and I deserve this. It's okay to say that. Just know when to turn it off. You'll wake up one day and have a house full of shit that you could even sell and get a lot of money back, but you won't. Because in the end, your ego's attached to it. I saw a guy the other night talk about black people put too much money into cars. We treat cars as investments. And cars are causing a lot of poverty in our own community. I would take it a step further. No, we're paying for value and status because we don't feel like we're good enough. Let's keep rolling. Next one.
Become a student.
Oh,
Ooh,
this,
okay.
hey,
Stop right
hold on a
there.
second.
Stop right there.
Woo! Yeah, hold on a second. I might have to take this jacket off. Go ahead, get started. Cause this
You
is gonna
gotta
be,
stretch.
This is gonna be a rough one. This is gonna be a long night here, boy. Yo, look here. All right, do not hit that off button. Don't close that laptop. Let's go.
The power of being a student is not just that it is an extended period of instruction, it also places the ego and ambition in someone else's hands. There is a sort of ego ceiling imposed. One knows he is no better than the master he apprentices under. Not even close. You defer to them. You subsume yourself. You cannot fake or bullshit them. An education can't be hacked. There are no shortcuts besides hacking it every single day. If you don't, they drop you.
You want to take that one first, bro?
Bro, it's real. I almost don't know what else to say. Like, again, no matter how far you go in life, this is one of the most beautiful mindsets you can have, especially people that look like us, is because we have very limited experience when it comes to getting big bags or hitting big successes. So a lot of us don't know how we gonna act when we get it. We just don't. You have the story in your head right now. Well, I'm gonna still keep it real. I'm gonna still stay true to who I am. I'm gonna still be myself. A lot of us don't know. And guess what happens? When it happens for you, and if you don't apply this mindset at all times, it's highly likely that your ego is going to explode out of control. It's highly likely, because once you become a student, you're always searching for growth and always searching for, how can I improve myself? What can I learn from this situation? Okay, my company is taking off. What can I learn from this? Where are my blind spots? Who can I talk to now? Like, you're constantly asking questions. Your palms out. Now, when it's time to perform, of course, your palms down. You're getting it, but you're always palms out. And so when somebody gives you advice, if you don't have a student mentality, the I knows come out so quick. And even if you don't say it, they come out in your head. So you're cutting it off, or you're trying to redirect the conversation to somebody trying to give you some game. Oh, well, yeah, I'm already doing that. Well, I did that already. Well, I'm doing that right now, because you got to be right. You got to feel right. And you like, fuck, I'm making money. I'm doing big shit. Like, you don't know everything.
Oh,
The minute you stop being a student, no matter if you're making billions, like student mentality is so valuable, because some of us who've had some big hits, or some hits that are way outside of what our norm is in the past in terms of money generation or status or power. If you admit and look back, you'll realize, damn, I really got caught up in my ego, huh? Shit, it came from behind. It's sneaky. Next thing you know everything. And that's the hot hand. It's part of the hot hand effect, where when y'all winning and everything's going in, fucking coach, stop coaching. Because like anything you say, it don't matter. You're not listening, because we doing everything right. Man, this will save you. And at some point in your future, this will save your ass. So that's why I get emotional about this. This is real shit.
You know, I stopped teaching a lot of individuals. I just stopped. People come to me and say all the time, like, okay, the best student I've ever had, ever worked with, where I passed them that I learned from somebody else, because I was a student and I got it. And I went through my bumps. And then Brother Cola, who works for me, Brother Cola's a photographer. When Cola wanted to learn from me, Cola's a strong-ass man, right? He walks with a lot of love and peace, but many of us don't understand the power of that. Very strong man. Cola first met me. He's like, yo, can you teach me photography? Okay, cool, yeah. Do you know Cola would be at my house or at my truck when I pull up to the office, even if it's at 7 o'clock in the morning, with a bag of lunch, sitting in a truck, just following me around, lifting, carrying anything he could, and learning from me and asking questions and whatever I needed to support. He never asked me to come help him. A lot of people who are still, their ego so big, yeah, so I was wondering if you could have a meeting with you and you could skip your lunch and come over to my spot and I will just have water for you when you get here, if that much. And I want you to give me some game, Nana. Where in the hell did that come from? And like, as if you, like I said, with my child, there's no fairness. I didn't know you was my child. I just didn't know that. But the reality is that people don't realize, like, you gotta learn the student mindset, even when you're powerful. Because you can sit here and mine for knowledge all the time, but when you have the student mindset, people are leaving knowledge on your front porch. It's huge. And quite often, we run students away, we run the teachers away by the way that we show up to the space. And a lot of times we don't want to, because in a way you can kind of avoid this process is stop thinking about, wow, the world, like a lot of us think the world evolves and starts with us. Mm-hmm. If we learn to live with more empathy, insight, pay attention to context over the content, we can learn how to show up in those spaces and maximize our relationships with other people. And here's the funny thing. You could be a student to a 10-year-old.
Absolutely.
The problem with some of you guys, the reason your ego won't let you learn properly because you put in titles and ranks, shit that don't even exist. They don't even exist.
Yeah. It also touches on E-Myth and the technician, right? A lot of times we overvalue what we know about things. So there's so many blind spots in what we do, especially as entrepreneurs, that it fucking behooves us to try to even act like we know everything. If you are a student, Trill Talk, I called my old mentor over the weekend. Just hit me on a drive because I finished having a 3-hour conversation with my son. So and I saw a lot of old me in that. I called my old mentor. What up? What you doing? He's like, hey, what's up? Long time no talk. I said, hey, I just want to say thank you and I'm sorry. Thank you for sticking by me and always rocking with me and giving me game consistently over years because I was such a stubborn little motherfucker and hard-headed and argued with you. Half the time the reason why they took so long, because I'm arguing with you. And I wouldn't submit like fully like a student. Because sometimes you don't understand what the steps are. If Puffy says, go get me some cheesecake, fuck that shit, I ain't gonna get no cheesecake. Man, shut the fuck up. There may be valuable lessons in all of that. It could be something at the cheesecake store waiting for you. But if you in student mode, then your ego's out the way. Your ego's out the way. Learn from it. Learn from it. Because that's the mentality that's going to take you there. If you are of service, if you are a servant, you are of service to your customers and the people around you, you ain't tripping off going to get no cheesecake. But our ego is so fucked up, we think disrespect. We are trying to determine what's in the space of what we should do and what we shouldn't do. But if you're a student, you open, because I don't know what lesson you're going to give me that I can translate all of that. I may not understand some of this piece. So if I'm bucking up against it, okay, you missed half the lesson because your ego.
Next one.
We don't like thinking that someone is better than us or that we have a lot left to learn. We want to be done. We want to be ready. We're busy and overburdened.
Hey, hold on. That's Phi T Media Hope class all year fucking long. End of the year conversations, beginning of the year conversations. I hear this is the biggest ego hurdle that I have to hear from just the Phi T Media family. Oh, well, I don't understand why I don't have it yet. I don't understand why I don't know this yet. It's so hard to learn. I don't get it. Your ego is the only thing telling you got to get it. Like, think about this. That's like you go to gym for 3 days and going, how come I'm not as buff as this dude over here? That's years of practice, and that person doesn't stay buff unless they continue to practice. Right? The more you recognize, or you hear this too. The other thing I go through all the time is class. Well, what am I going to learn from them dudes? Like, literally, are you serious? Like, I tell you this, the other side of ego. They only love people who's already died or they can't have access to. They love Malcolm, Martin, Elijah Muhammad, Marcus Garvey, Du Bois, Patrice Lumumba. Let's keep it going, right? But anybody today, they hella weak. They ain't strong enough for me. Right? They fall in love with females on television. They fall in love with males on television. But the females and males around them, there's something wrong with them. Nothing around them is good enough because their ego is always trying to say, what the ego is really saying is that I'm so great and I'm so superior, I'm so much more knowledgeable, and I can't let anything around me shrink that. And it's so damn cold. Yeah. And so if you're trying to be a student in this game, you got to get past the point that you're constantly curious. See, this right here is you got a door that you open and close for people. I'm saying tear the whole fucking wall down. If it doesn't flow, let it come in and then store it on the side. It costs no extra energy. If the person's dead, like for example, if you have an alcoholic uncle who will never make no goddamn sense, then stop being around an uncle every fucking week. Be radically responsible. But if you're choosing to be around these people, learn to let shit just come in and then just store it for later if you don't agree with it. But don't just start saying close the door, open the door, open the door, close the door. Well, okay, I'm gonna let you in, but I can't let you in. I'll let this idea in. That is confirmation bias, and that's also the beginning of naive realism. This is why, okay, for example, I forgot to mention this about naive realism. This is another thing about naive realism. The more educated you are, the more powerful it can become. Mm-hmm. The vaccine conversation has more naive realism built around it than facts. Facts doesn't matter when naive realism kicks in. It's what I feel and what I believe, and that's all there is. As opposed to, let me sit with this, let me learn it, and because, okay, let's all agree that white people have done us wrong. Can we all agree upon that? I'm gonna fuck with y'all for 5 seconds. I'm gonna fuck with the vaccine for a few seconds. Let's agree that white people have done us wrong. Let's agree that Tuskegee's happened. Let's agree that they've always given us the most fucked up health care. Let's agree that they never gave a fuck about you. But can we also agree that's the past? Can we also agree that in this situation, in this future present idea that when shit happens, the past doesn't always equate the future? And sometimes when you're locked into the past, you make a decision based upon narrative as opposed to optionality. So let me tell you what your optionality, what you just chosen. You say to me, no, I trust the virus more than I trust somebody who's trying to help me. That's what you said. But I'm not attacking you. I'm showing you how your brain does this shit. You think the virus is the only thing you do this in? Oh, this is in every part of category in the world. When you think your loved ones are betraying you, or your staff is not riding with you because they made a mistake, say they ain't never been down with me. What? Naive realism is so motherfucking cold, and then it turns into confirmation bias. You mix that bias with naive realism, I can't bring facts to you. And the more education you get, the more you will read a book that will give you all the facts, and somehow your brain will shut down all the facts and only see things that validate your ideas and your beliefs. So then you come to Fighting Media Hope. This is going. See, I'm talking about that student shit, but I'm coming from the back. I'm coming over the back fence to go meet you on the front porch. but I want y'all to see it from this angle. Naive realism got it to a point that you can sit in this class and focus on what you disagree with over dealing with the emotion and the feeling, like being so present when I say something that you feel like, I'm not sure if I really believe that shit. You go, damn, why though? What does that mean? And then you to sit with that and be present and then say, well, let's see, what would it take for that point to be right? What would it take for my point to be wrong? Let me try to see both sides. If I still feel my side is valid, why is it valid? And why is this invalid? But we won't do that. See, the brain gonna say, use your knowledge to show. You know, well, I know this one time when this one guy got a shot and he died. Oh, you know about the guy who's almost already dead? He was hanging on for dear motherfucking life. See, there's one thing that COVID does that the virus shot don't necessarily do, but could definitely be accused of. COVID takes those who are already close to death and makes sure that you don't even get there. That's one thing it does do. And because no one knows the day and the time, COVID somehow delivers you an answer. Judge, jury, and decision. What COVID says is, hey, let's give the power back to God and let's just extend it a little bit longer. But some of you, the day was already here. So when you took the shot, it's easy for you to be like, oh, COVID caused that. I took my last COVID shot last Wednesday, and I had the fever. I was in bed for 3 days with a fever. I'm in bed with the fever, and I'm smiling because I know it ain't a real flu. Your body's gonna go through all the symptoms because my immune system is adjusting. That's what the vaccine does. It adjusts your immune system. So when the COVID comes, it's designed to fight it even stronger, and it makes the symptoms less severe. Right? That's why you say 95%. You still can catch COVID with the vaccine. It just it won't have the same impact upon you. But all it takes now, if I'm at a party and you're against the vaccine, your brain says, see, he caught a fever. That's why I ain't fucking with that shit. I could catch a fever and die tomorrow. I had a cousin caught a fever and he died. What? This is naive realism at its best. So you're sitting in this class with that naive realism shit that we talked about earlier, and we hitting those edges. You know what? You have to be obedient to somebody. You know what? You ain't shit. You know what? This is what it requires. You have to forgive somebody. You know what? You're going to have radical responsibility. And you know what you're saying at home? Man, them motherfuckers tripping. Or there's somebody who checked in for the first time. Yeah, he don't find no Umar. Ain't what Umar Johnson would have said. I'm out. Or, you know me as a Republican, them T-shirts and baseball caps. He needs to have a suit on with a blue tie. I mean red tie. I don't understand what the fuck is that going on.
Shit.
Heel, yeah, we NWA. But what is this? He just gave us hell flavor. But the point is this, I'm saying this, that the back door of this is that this is not hunting you just with this class. This is hunting you. And here's a funny part. You can have short-term success and be this person. You just can't sustain it. Mm-hmm. You can't sustain it. I promise you, there are going to be a lot of people you're going to run across and be like, man, he made millions. And you're going to, and then give it some time. You're going to be like, damn, he lost millions.
Mm-hmm. I've been that guy.
It
I've been
happens all
that
the time.
guy. And refused to change any part of my personality because I was afraid that tweaking any part of my personality would fuck the formula up of how I got there. True fucking story. So all the bullshit ego, I thought that was part of my success formula until it crashed and burned because it's a fucked up formula. So you like there will be spikes, there will be outliers. That's the dope part about the universe. There are no absolutes. There's an exception to every fucking rule. But we're talking about the mean. We're talking about the bell. What gives you the highest? We're playing in the space of what gives you the highest opportunity chance to win. That's long game wins. That's being strong. That's if shit happened and your company failed, would you have the tools to get back on your feet and get it cracking again and know the steps? So that's the game we're playing. Don't tell me about no fucking cryptocurrency or bitcoins and that shit right now. That's dope. Whoever eating off it, that's dope. But that's not how we design this. It's saying whatever wave comes, because it's going to be bitcoins this next few years, it's going to be something else next. It's you're playing in a success space, a long game success space.
Yeah, it's. I deserve to be rich right now because I want to be, and I believe I should be. That's all ego. The game we're playing is we're serving, and if the money comes along with it, cool, but we're here to serve. It's a different mindset. What that does is also we don't leak as much. We just don't leak as much. Because why? We don't need to continue to buy stuff after stuff after stuff or spend money to validate ourselves.
Shit.
The stuff you're tapping into now is a third level of consciousness. It's when life lives through you. And it's when you start to get you out the way. You start to realize that you live for not you, you live for something bigger than you.
Hey.
Now, the highest level is you don't have you no more. You doesn't exist. I'm not going to teach that because that's probably something that Cord is doing in his spiritual life. That's something that Pastor Chris is probably working on in his spiritual life. That's something that I don't think this class is qualified to tap into. But the first two is directly tied to business.
When we first met, we was talking about just introducing ourselves to each other and our life and what we about. And so what we really like hyped up on was like our cost of living, our monthly nut was the same, right? Like very close. And it's like, shit, that's how you think? That's how you think too? Hell yeah, fuck that shit. Like whatever nice shit you see, I know like it does. I concentrate on keeping my monthly expenses to a certain level low. So, and thank God the mentality sticks because during really bad times, the stress level isn't high about your personal life. You know, man, I'm good. Worst case scenario, there's a lot of options out there for me because my cost of living personally, I keep it low. Now, I done made few $1 million so far. He makes a few $1 million a year. However, shit don't change. I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Now, if I want to buy something nice, I buy it. Cool. But it ain't going to change my cost of living because that's the mentality when you ain't playing in that space. Your ego's low. You like, fuck it. You know, my purpose and the bigger goal for me is to make this type of impact. Don't mean we can't get nice shit or the shit we want, but when you caught up in that hype that I deserve to be rich, I gotta be rich by any means, I'm gonna be rich, your decision-making power, your decision-making gets weak and you start being hijacked by now shit. And next thing you know, you hit one good bump and now your cost of living is at the level of that bump. And now if any fucking thing goes wrong, you fucked.
Let's read two quick ones more, and then we'll call the first one. The next one will be pretty easy, and then one after that, then we can go home. This is messed up. Go ahead. She messed up. That's messed up. That's what y'all see this picture online. Y'all know who that is, right? That's Nate laying out flat. That's cold-blooded. That's cold. Poor Nate. He at home now, boy. Go ahead.
Each fighter to become great, he said, needs to have someone better that they can learn from, someone lesser who they can teach, and someone equal that they can challenge themselves against.
Okay, this one here requires such deep awareness because many of you guys would think the person beneath you is equal. because you built a whole bunch of people weaker than you around you to validate yourself. Because at the end of the day, people equal to you intimidate you, or you feel like you're not good enough, they can judge you. So in order for you to get to this space here, you have to have a level of self-awareness. Look, self-awareness is a superpower. Let me just say that again. I use the word, I keep talking about self-awareness all the time, over and over and over again. Self-awareness, self-awareness, self-awareness. Because it's a superpower. You can't use these tools without self-awareness. Like self-awareness is the oxygen it's your energy, or your control of your energy, your awareness. Without self-awareness, you can think you're on A and you're really around Z. Like that far of a gap.
Yeah.
But if everybody around you short, you can think you're tall, even though in the real world you're short. Right? In order for you to really have accuracy, you have to get a lay. What is a true lay of the land, and where do I really exist in this game? And if you're used to lying to others, you've lied to yourself so long, you lost your way. So, if you can regain awareness, it's important you have somebody in front of you that where you say to yourself, "Oh shit, this person, when I'm around them, I gotta have a certain kind of conversation." Somebody beneath you that you're going, "Hey, let me put this person on," and somebody that's equal to you, they can share your vulnerability and your weaknesses and help you be okay with yourself.
Yeah, in AAU hoop, if you don't travel nationally and play in national tournaments, there's one in LA, Coca-Cola Classic, there's one in New York, there's one in Florida. If you don't touch those 3 tournaments as you're growing as an AAU program, you can get caught up in your own fucking hype thinking you hella raw. And I watch it all the time when the team who think they the best team and we gonna go down to LA, we gonna sweep that whole thing. Man, them Compton kids light they ass up. And they come back 0-4, no place. And I'm like, see, that's what you getting caught up in your own hype. There's people, you have to always test your skills around people. You have to look for people that's better than you. And it takes a reduction of ego for you to be comfortable with that. To sit down and be checked and have somebody check you when you are giving your philosophies or your thoughts or your ideas, you have to be comfortable with that. You also have to be comfortable going back and forth with somebody and letting them challenge you. And that's basically practicing, playing 21 with a teammate and allowing you to try your new moves and them try them on you, and you guys pump each other up and keep each other competitive, as well as being a mentor, because a mentor drives what you know and what works for you deeper inside your psyche. And that's what you need too. Like, if you don't have those things, there can be an imbalance in how you move.
Now this next line, stay on that same slide. And this next line is the secret sauce. And we should have probably made this the biggest, but I didn't get a chance to reach out to her. But this is the actual secret sauce. Read the secret sauce.
Professional athletes have teams of coaches, and even powerful politicians have advisors and mentors.
Black people, that's what we're missing. That there, you guys we don't see value in that because we got the heroism going on. Your greatness is based upon what? A team of coaches and advisors and mentors. Like, we got this idea that heroism says, I can do this, I don't need nobody, I'm the person. I got this degree, I've achieved this goal, I know this much, look how far I got so far. I ain't need nobody so far. If nobody do this, I gotta do this for myself. It's all about individualism. It's all about me. The rest of y'all haters. All this is a mindset this is a myopia that exists in this lifetime. It didn't exist 20 years ago, 30 years ago. This is the secret sauce that we don't have in our community. We don't understand the importance of this, and you don't get someone to train you for a week and then you good. You get somebody to train you as long as you stay in the game. I'm sure LeBron James has been in the league for 18 years. I bet you he has a trainer.
Hell of them.
I bet you still has a coach. When Kyrie talking about, I don't need no coach, we can do this on our own. Sit your young ass down. The world still ain't flat. But the reality is that that's what you need to reach a certain level of greatness, because naturally, if you use, it's like, okay. So I'm cutting this weight off of me because I got that COVID weight on me. Plus, I think I started picking up a little bit before COVID, but really got that COVID weight on me because you think you're moving the same speed, but you think you run 100 miles per hour, you run about 25. Talking about, woo, it's fast out here. But I probably would have never slowed down if I had a coach. Because coach would be like, yo, that's it? Fuck is this? In your mind will learn to adjust, adopt, rationalize in such an invisible way, you won't even know that you went from 100 performance down to a 25 performance. So this one here, like if you're going to print something on your wall, print you coach, advisor, and mentor. That's what Hope is doing. Hope ain't a stopping point, because that's what your ego wants it to be. Hope is a psychological gym that even when you get there, you got to stay in the game to grow, because you don't really ever get there. That's the funny part. You never arrive. I'm nowhere near where I want to be. Nowhere near it.
Nowhere near.
Look, nowhere near it. So I'm not even thinking about destination. I'm enjoying the journey of growth. Last one. Keep going.
Why? To become great and to stay great, they must all know what came before, what is going on now, and what comes next.
Myopia. This is what myopia takes away from you. Myopia got you believing what you believe is all there is. Mm-hmm. This is also the recipe for increased awareness. See, the reason you can't get to increased awareness is because you're locked into your reality, and then you're trying to make everything in this class fit within your reality, as opposed to opening yourself up to a new reality. Go ahead.
They must internalize the fundamentals of their domain and what surrounds them without ossifying or becoming stuck in time. They must be always learning. We must all become our own teachers, tutors, and critics.
Self-awareness again.
You know that domain thing is so cold? Human beings have a problem taking the knowledge you learn in this domain and shifting it to another domain. When we believe we know something in this domain, it's hard. So, for example, let's say you could solve a problem and as a baker. If I take you in the same situation and put you in an environment as an athlete, you can see the same problem in your brain, like, I don't know what's happening here. We don't know how to shift principles between domains. And so what a coach has to, what that's called is tunneling. And a lot of times when you're in a certain domain, you tunnel really, really hard. Not realizing, so for example, I was thinking about this today. So when I'm teaching this class, I'm in a position of authority, right? I'm framed, I'm positioned, camera's on me, my voice is carrying, I own the lesson, got the brand behind me, so it's easy to believe that. But when I leave here, I make sure I leave that right here.
Right here.
So when I go out and sit in public, I don't walk in the room like I'm the authority. I walk in the room like I'm the student. Anybody who's ever hung out with me for this class, you almost forget I teach this class. Like, now mind you, if I'm with my family, I'm protecting my family, I'm going to be that man. If I'm running fight to media, I'm going to be that man. If you ask me, I can become that man. But if I go into an environment, I can sit in a room the whole time and be like, okay. And still enjoy. When I was with Shakira's family this weekend, I don't agree with a lot of stuff they say. And I hate the N-word. And they some conscious N-word using people. And the whole time, I had the best time. I had a good time. Why? Because what? I know how to say, look, you need to be a student when you're walking down the street. You need to be a student when you're around other people. Just listen. You don't know everything, bruh. And stop looking for what only the gurus can teach me. Start learning the lessons that's on your block, that's in your house, that's down the street. Like if you don't learn to listen for the lessons, you may never find them, because look, when you say only a special person can teach me, you will keep raising that bar every time you meet people, especially if they offend you.
Yeah, I'm the same. A lot of times some people who either know I teach this class, or from an entrepreneur perspective, they invite me to sit in on meetings or whatever, and they be like, Court, you still there? Yep, I'm here. Like I don't need like unless you ask me for my opinion, I don't say it. I'm listening. I'm observing, because I don't gotta be the loudest talking. And my success derives from me being able to get better. And you can't get better if you aren't learning. You're not observing. You're not listening for patterns in people's words. A lot of our failures come from our inability to listen. We close off. You hear the first 10% of a situation, words, sentence, and the rest of your ego fills in the rest of the sentence like a fucking bullshit ass AI. And then you think you're like, well, you meant to say this, huh? No, not at all. Not even close. But once we start observing and being students to the game and listening and taking that king shit off and be like, no, I way rather be a student. I way rather be a student. And if you want to come, like people who come to the office sometimes and hang out with me is the same. It's like I'm asking you guys, what do you think? How do you feel? And just challenging it and tweaking it. And as a group, we're coming up with the best idea. If I got to lead, I will. But most of the time, fuck that shit. I'd rather learn from you. Because, hey, I either want you to be my customer or teach me something. Or if you need to exchange value or you're asking me my opinion, okay, this is how I feel. This is what I think based on what you told me. That like we move like that, we change our society. We change our culture.
Oh, let me close out with this too. My point. He just brought us something. Made me think of something. If you're a student of a teacher and you tell me this is gonna be okay, this is gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. This is a hard one for y'all. If you're a student of a teacher and you say that teacher sucks, you're not taking radical responsibility. What you do, what you realize is that the education you get is based upon how you show up to it. So, for example, you have a teacher that's not performing a certain way, engage the lesson differently. Fuck it, read the books without that teacher and go online and look it up and then come to use a teacher for a certain kind of space. How you get from people, how you receive from everybody doesn't need to be a narrative from a storybook like what you see on television. Television is so fucking manipulative. When a person controls, when a director does a movie, he or she decides where the camera will move next and what you need to see next. So I am training you sequential thoughts. If you want to own, what you have to understand is that that's not real life. When you enter this right, wrong, and rigidity of beliefs and ideas, a lot of times you're just trying to live the sequences that you have been subliminally educated upon. Well, when this happened, it's supposed to happen because you watched too much television when you was coming as a kid. But in real life, if you guys watch Game of Thrones, what it did really well was it fucked up all your sequences. This would happen, and then this person would die, but he ain't supposed to die. So then this person, you're like, what the fuck? The bad guy gets away and runs away living cool. You're like, what the fuck is this? This ain't the way it's supposed to work. And that artist had the ability to play with this, but that artist was closer to real life itself. The hero and the right person don't always win. The good person don't always win. The person you want to live forever dies tomorrow. The person that should have been treated itself like fucked up lives longer. Once you understand those sequences doesn't exist like that, then you can also stop victimizing yourself by the story you sequenced in your head based upon the sequence you were manipulated with. So you're now mad at something because it didn't fit a sequence when you didn't realize that sequence was false. Cold fucking game.
Oh man, I think about religion. Sorry, like I think about religion. You know, why at least my mom's old church and religions I used to be around. Why they justify rich people and what God is going to do for them, or why God got them in a position, even though they're bad, He got them in a position to be winning right now and millionaires right now. Like, yo, all of that is all mixed up. You can't quantify or qualify why somebody is good, bad, or winning, or a bad guy but surviving. Like once you delete that from your processor, then that's fucking life. That's how life works. The bad guy, killer, the scumbag, sometimes stays in the neighborhood for 35 years, 40 years, and what we call, windfalls or good things happen to them. And sometimes the person we love, the good person, ends up not being with us no more.
Okay, I'm gonna share a story. It's gonna be kind of fucked up, but hey, I'm not Pastor Chris or the new anointed Pastor Chris because he's been killing our religion. But when I was younger, I learned to break sequence early, and I learned from a woman. Fuck y'all if y'all don't like this story. Those of y'all into To Me or Me Too, whatever y'all believe in, just turn off your computer. So I would have women tell me what their rules were and what the sequence has to be. I only want a man who's going to do this. He has to dress like this. He has to take me this kind of dinner. He's got to do this, the other, and I expect this. And in 3 weeks, if I like it, I will entertain the idea of having sex. You know my next response would be? Take your pants off, girl. Fuck all them sequences. Guess how many women didn't take their pants off? Most of the women took their pants off. Why? Because a sequence was in their motherfucking head. It wasn't reality. And when I realized that was, okay, I was a young dude then. I'm saying to y'all, I would listen to the testimonies of all these, this is what my belief is, this is what I would never do. You want to do this? Okay. What? That's when I realized there's a difference between reality and what we believe in. Now, this is young version. And so what I'm saying to you is that, remember, I can be this and that. Don't get tyranny of the or when it comes to me. The point is this. What I'm highlighting, what I'm giving you guys game on is that the sequence got you where you can't get the benefits of reality you live in. I've had some amazing times with some amazing women. But if I follow, I had a partner who followed a sequence. I would say, well, what's the opposite side? This cat did everything a man said. That kind of dude who walks around a poodle and pets his poodle like he's being sensitive to women, and he's just we're talking about the straight male. We're not talking about the gay male. Straight male who likes women, but he almost caters to a woman by being the perfect example of what she wants. I had a partner with me, right? We were both buff-ass dudes in our 20s, right? And we were both, I guess, nice-looking men. Women would not fuck with him. But he was the perfect description of everything they say they wanted in a man. I was the no good for nothing shit, and all of them slept with me.
Certainty and uncertainty. Human needs.
That's the cold game. And so what I realized that he went through a whole life frustrated with women because he was so busy locked into the sequence of what he was supposed to do. I had a great life because I found out what do people really want. And what I found is that this young girl had the same curiosity that I had. And she wanted to play like I wanted to play when I was younger. So we played. You understand me? And so look, I can't bury all of it. Most of it's gone. I'm married, but hey, there's a little swag up in there. My point is this, you understand me? Once I understood that she wanted to play, and I'm giving y'all, look, I learned the game from, y'all know Gangster Brown? Gangster Brown. He was, back in the days, y'all know him, y'all know what the fuck I'm talking about. I used to sit with Gangster Brown back in the day. I didn't agree with his lifestyle at all, but there was wisdom in the game. And what he was trying to show me is the difference between the way humans really believe and this conversation we're having in our head. And once you understand that, now entrepreneurs, this is important. Because when you're working with the public, you got to get in alignment with what public wants, as opposed to the stories we tell. Like, the reality is that if people was doing what we're supposed to be doing, the marijuana and alcohol business would be starving, right? Porn on websites, it'd be an all-time low business, even though it's the number one place that people go, right? They even talk about top executives who smoke weed because of the level of anxiety that they go through. Because at the end, they're trying to shut their brain off. I'm saying to you guys that once you understand the movement of people around you, like I said in this class, once you understand the dark side, then you'll understand the light side. But if you measure everything by the light side, you'll ultimately be fooled by the dark side. People and human beings and what we say and what we want is never really aligned most of the time. True story. All right, with that being said, some of y'all done turned the shit off. The place done got real quiet. I promise you when I walk out there, I'm going to picket saying, enough of that player stuff. It's over. It's done. You can't cancel me for some shit I did in my 20s. I'm 50. That shit's way over. All right, y'all. Have a good night. See y'all later. Peace.
Bye.